Chapter 840. Father, hearing these words, everyone fell silent. As for Lin Yun, because of these words, he shed tears. The Grand Master of a powerful sect was now shedding tears. He had not expected his own father to work so hard just to give him a stable world. Tiske, you brat. Looking at his son's tears, Lin Rei's heart was moved. His heart was filled with warmth. At this moment, Lin Rei felt that everything he did was worth it. All right, you're already a few thousand years old, yet you're still crying. How can you lead the sect to prosperity like this? I'm still waiting to see you in the saints' world. As he said that, he raised his hand and patted Lin Yun's head as if he was patting a child. If the sects in the divine world were to see this scene, they would be shocked. They might even think that the world was abnormal. Although Lin Yun didn't make a move many times, it was still in everyone's heart. Lin Yun was the kind of person who didn't show any mercy to his enemies. But now, he was like a child, allowing Lin Rei to pat his head. He even revealed a look of enjoyment. Yes, I understand, father. Don't worry, I will work hard and do my best. I hope to meet you in the holy world soon. At this moment, Lin Yun's heart was filled with determination. He wanted to become an expert who could protect his father and not just let his father protect him. Looking at Lin Yun's resolute gaze, everyone couldn't help smiling as they nodded their heads. They knew that this might be the time for Lin Yun to transform. All right, father will wait for the day when you're strong enough to protect me. I'll wait. If that's the case, I'll be able to live a peaceful life for a period of time. With a smile, he withdrew his hand. With a thought, he removed a dozen interspatial rings from the system and passed them to Lin Yun. Take this with you. Right now, the sect is in the midst of development and resources are indispensable. These are all the resources that the Xueqi sect has accumulated since its inception. I believe that with these, the sect will be able to rise to another level. Yes, I understand. Lin Yun didn't reject the dozen interspatial rings in front of him and directly accepted them. He knew that these things were indispensable if he wanted to become a powerhouse. If he wanted to chase after Lin Rei, then he had to accept these resources. As the saying goes, wealth, magic, companionship, and land. Wealth was the most important thing. Oh right. Seeing his son accept it, Lin Rei smiled. Your uncle Tian was sent out by me to create an information sect. I don't know how he is doing after being separated for so many years. If you have time, go and find him. Find a reliable person to replace him and let him cultivate well. His talent is better than yours. Ah, Uncle Tian. Looking at Lin Rei in a daze, he said, I was wondering why I haven't seen Uncle Tian in a while. So it turns out that you were sent out by father. Lin Rei nodded. Then, what's the name of the sect? I'll find him too. After not seeing him for so long, I miss him. Lin Yun said with a smile. When he was in the immortal world, it was Lin Tian who sent him away. It was because of this that he had his current achievements. It was also because of that his brother and aunt died. The Celestial Arcanum sect is usually in the form of a restaurant. As for the night, I don't know what it's like. You'll have to find out yourself. Isn't there an information department in the sect? Instruct them to search for it. This way, you'll have more time to cultivate. I understand, father. Hearing his father's arrangement, Lin Yun wasn't unhappy. After all, this sect was created by his father and he was forced to take over by Lin Rei. That's good. Seeing Lin Yun nod, Lin Rei smiled and turned to the others. Looking at them, Lin Rei said, Bai Qi and the rest will leave with me. As for Kuei Gang, you guys will stay here and guard the sect. When the sect's strength increases, you can decide to leave and enter the holy world. As for Blood 36 and the others, more than half of them are currently outside searching for natural treasures. After a period of time, we will bring them back and let the alchemists of the sect refine pills for them. At this point, the entire sect will enter closed-door cultivation. Only when all disciples have reached the late-stage God-Emperor or middle-stage God-Emperor realm can they come out. Do you understand? At this moment, there was nothing but excitement in everyone's hearts. Looking at Lin Rei's orders, they felt as if they had returned to the immortal world and returned to the time when Xian Tian had just founded the sect. In their bodies, a wave of boiling hot blood was lying there. They liked this feeling very much. Yes, Sect Master Lin Yun. We'll definitely bring glory to the sect and enter the holy world as soon as possible to meet you. Put on. The sound of kneeling could be heard. The people who had been standing upright all knelt on the ground and looked at Lin Rei with respect. Rise. Looking at them, Lin Rei smiled and nodded. Any one of these people would be an expert if they went out. They stood up and didn't say anything. They just stood there quietly and looked at Lin Rei, waiting for his next instructions. Looking at them, Lin Rei smiled helplessly. All right, I'm no longer the sect master. I'll have to ask you to take care of my son in the future. However, remember, if he does anything wrong, feel free to discipline him. After all, the basic money here belongs to this little guy's elders. Yes, father is right. Please give me your guidance. Lin Yun didn't dare to refute Lin Li's words. Instead, he had to agree with him. Nodding, Lin Yun's last wish was fulfilled. There was no need for him to bring Lin Yun down here. There was still a troublesome matter waiting for him in the 9th province. Thinking about it, Lin Rei sighed and said, "Let's go." With that, Lin Rei turned around and rushed out of the hall. However, just as Lin Rei turned around, a voice filled with reluctance rang out. "Grandfather, I don't want to be separated from you. I want to leave with you and pursue the truth of the great Tao." Hearing this, Lin Yun stopped in his tracks. He turned his head curiously. At this moment, a little girl was standing not far away, looking at him with a determined gaze. "Haha, little Ling, you're still young and your cultivation isn't strong. When you're strong enough to protect yourself, grandfather will definitely take you away. However, it's not suitable for you now, so stay at home and cultivate obediently. When you become the #1 in the God world, I might consider it." Hearing Lin Li's words, Lin Ling paused for a moment, but then her words became firm again. Her voice was sonorous and forceful, as if she had decided to accept Lin Li's words. "All right, you said it. When the time comes, I'll definitely become the #1 in the God world. When the time comes, you can't go back on your words." Okay. Grandfather definitely won't go back on his words. Of course, when Lin Rei said this, he still felt a little shameless. After all, when his granddaughter became the #1 in the God world, he would have already reached the saint's world. Okay. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Lin Ling nodded heavily and hid this matter deep in her heart. However, Lin Rei didn't know that because of his words, Lin Ling worked very hard and finally became the #1 in the God world in the shortest time possible. But it was also because of this. The sects in the God world had been bullied by her many times. Okay, let's go. Seeing that the matter had been resolved naturally, he looked at Lin Yun and the others again, then turned around and rushed back to the sect. Whoosh! His speed was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared from Lin Yun and the others' sight. The matter was resolved just like that, and Lin Rei once again embarked on his journey. Sigh. Let's go. Looking at his father and the others who had disappeared from his sight, Lin Yun sighed. His face was filled with disappointment. Yeah, let's go. I don't know when we'll meet again. Lin Ling nodded at the side. In silence, the father and son looked in the direction Lin Rei and the others left in a daze. The two of them didn't say anything, just looked at each other like that. Time passed little by little, and after an unknown amount of time, Lin Ling came back to her senses. With a determined gaze, she looked at her father and said, "Father, I plan to leave." Sigh. I knew that you wouldn't give up so easily. There was no surprise, only a sigh. How could he not know his daughter's thoughts? Yes, I want to catch up to grandfather's footsteps. I want to become a supreme existence. I want to stand at the peak of the Tao. I want to stand together with grandfather. Filled with determination, she said to him. However, hearing his daughter's words, Lin Yun's body trembled. He lowered his head to look at his daughter beside him, and in her, Lin Yun saw the shadow of his father. That kind of determined and courageous figure. He knew that he couldn't stop her. All right, since you've decided, then do what you want to do. But Lin Yun seemed to have thought of something as he said, "Go and see your mother before you leave. After all, we don't know when you'll be back." Okay, I'll go now. Hearing this, Lin Ling was stunned. Then, she nodded in agreement, turned around, and rushed into the depths of the Xuanzong sect. Looking at his daughter's departing figure, Lin Yun sighed, his face filled with envy. How great would it be if I could be like you? Time passed little by little. At the entrance of vast Origin City in the northern part of the 9th Prefecture, a group of people majestically walked over from afar. They didn't walk very quickly, as if they were looking at the scenery, chatting and laughing as they walked. Husband, is this the northern part of the 9th Prefecture? At this moment, there were 2 women following behind the young man. The women's figures were covered by loose clothes. As for their faces, they were covered by a veil. However, what was exposed was extremely white like jade. Their skin was as white as ice and their bones were as white as jade. They gave people the feeling that they would fall in love at first sight. One look and one would know that they were beauties. At this moment, a woman in purple clothes asked the young man in the lead. Yes, that's right. This is vast Origin City in the northern part. However, I've never been here before. Although I've been here before, it was for the purpose of cultivation, so... The young man shrugged as if he didn't know anything. In response, the woman didn't ask any more questions. Instead, she obediently kept quiet. Young master, I'll go and book a room for you first. When you arrive, everything will be ready. However, at this moment, the moment the woman in purple clothes stopped talking, a young man walked over from behind and said, That's good too. In that case, Ming, you can go with Bai Qi. Be careful on the way and don't cause any trouble. At this moment, the person who spoke was none other than Lin Rei and the others who had left the Xuanzong sect. After several months of arduous travel, Lin Rei had finally led them to the 9th province. At the same time, this was also the first city they saw after arriving in the 9th province. Beside him were his 2 beautiful wives, Bing and Ying. After hearing Lin Rei's instructions, Ming walked out from the crowd and bowed to Lin Rei. Then, she left with Bai Qi and quickly walked toward vast Origin City. Let's go! Seeing the 2 people's figures gradually getting farther and farther away, Lin Rei lifted his foot and walked forward. At this moment, Lin Wanyu and the others who had followed behind him couldn't help but exclaim. The city in the 9th province is much more magnificent than the other 8 provinces of the Divine Realm. It's really... simply... That's right, this place. Oh, a beauty? Suddenly, before Lin Yuro could finish her words, a voice filled with flirtation sounded from the side. The voice wasn't loud, but it wasn't soft either. As a hierarch, Lin Li naturally heard it and was attracted by the voice. Among Lin Rei and the others, the person with the lowest cultivation was still a god emperor. Therefore, when they heard the voice, they all became interested and began to watch the show. What did you say? At this moment, Lin Wanyu, who was being flirted with, was stunned. She turned her head and saw an extremely handsome young man holding a folding fan in his hand and wearing luxurious clothes. With a single glance, one could tell that he was a young man from a wealthy family. However, when Lin Wanyu saw the greed and lust in the young man's deep affection, her expression suddenly changed. Beauty, this young master is the son of vast Origin City's city lord, Feng Hun, Feng Xiaoyun. Furthermore, I am the personal disciple of the Rain Sect's elder Tian Lin. How about it? Why don't you follow this young master into vast Origin City and find a restaurant? We can eat while discussing life philosophy. What do you think? Hearing Feng Xiaoyun's words, everyone present, including Lin Rei, was stunned. Their expressions were filled with astonishment. Is he fucking courting death? Chapter 841. At this moment, everyone was looking at Feng Xiaoyun as though they were looking at an idiot. They had never thought that Lin Wanyu would be teased by someone like that. Naturally, the moment Feng Xiaoyun teased Lin Wanyu, everyone could already see the future of Feng Xiaoyun and the future of vast Origin City. They could also see the end of his father, Feng Hun. Looks like our little Yu is quite popular. At this moment, Lin Li couldn't help but say, Everyone stared in shock at Lin Li's words. Of course, Lin Wanyu heard it as well, and her face turned red with embarrassment. Of course, the only thing she felt toward Lin Li and Feng Xiaoyun, who had dared to flirt with her, was fury, boundless fury. Ever since she started cultivating, even though there were people who dared to tease her, in the end, those who dared to tease her could only happily walk on the road to the Yellow Springs. But ever since she entered the divine world, she had never heard of anyone who dared to tease her. That was because of her strength and the reputation of the Xuanzong sect. But now, at this moment, she actually heard someone teasing her. Furthermore, Looking at Feng Xiaoyun's cultivation, he was merely a deity emperor. In the divine world, he was at most a lower middle-level existence. Lin Wanyu could not figure out who exactly gave him the guts to tease a middle-stage god emperor. Who, after calming herself down, Lin Wanyu ignored the gazes of the surrounding people. Instead, her gaze landed on Feng Xiaoyun. Looking at him coldly, she spoke. You are called Feng Xiaoyun? What is your father's cultivation? Also, what kind of power is the rain sect you mentioned? And what is the cultivation of that so-called elder Tian Lin you mentioned? One question after another was asked by Lin Wanyu. Although she was not afraid at all, she still wanted to know. She wanted to know who could raise such a despicable disciple. She wanted to see who it was that could relieve the hatred in her heart. Looks like little Yu is furious. She intends to teach everyone related to him a lesson. Meanwhile, Linley frowned, and then his brows relaxed as he spoke. Say, how pitiful. I hope that Elder Heavenly Qilin won't personally deal with him once he finds out that his last disciple has offended a god emperor. At this moment, Lin Rei and the others were speaking very softly. Only a few people could hear them. My father's cultivation is very strong. He's a godly lord and a city lord with countless subordinates. In this place my father is the emperor. As long as my father speaks, no one dares to say no. As he spoke, Feng Xiaoyun's face was filled with pride. It was as if he was talking about himself, as if he was the king of this place. As for my master, Elder Tian Lin, he is an outer court elder of the Rain Sect. His cultivation is at the late stage of the Divine Lord realm, and he has countless disciples. As for the Rain Sect, it's one of the 7 great sects in the entire god realm. Tell me, am I strong or not? I'm the young city lord of a city, and I'm also a disciple of the Rain Sect. If you follow me, I guarantee that you'll live a good life, and you'll be able to do whatever you want in the god realm. As he spoke, Feng Xiaoyun couldn't help but pat his chest and half open his eyes. In response, Lin Rei and the others looked at the silly Feng Xiaoyun with a smile. Among them, Jie Yong was laughing so hard that he was swaying back and forth. The amused smile on his face was even more obvious. Rain Sect? Heh. Others might not know, but he was very clear. Back in the ancient corpse trove, several old ancestors of the Rain Sect were killed by Lin Rei, not to mention the Rain Sect. Of course he would say this out loud. Since Lin Rei didn't say anything, why should he? Eat good food and drink spicy wine, heh. Hearing Feng Xiaoyun's words, Lin Wanyu's complexion became extremely ugly. Regarding this bastard in front of her, she wanted to kill him. No, make him beg for death. Thinking about this, Lin Wanyu turned her head and looked at Lin Rei. Her expression was filled with questions. Do as you see fit. You can do whatever you want. Understanding her meaning, Lin Rei shrugged and said indifferently. I understand. After getting Lin Rei's approval, Lin Wanyu was completely relaxed. After all, she had just arrived. Without Lin Rei's approval, she wouldn't dare to act recklessly. But now it was different. With Lin Rei's approval, she would naturally take her revenge. However, when Feng Xiaoyun, who was originally smiling, heard the conversation between Lin Rei and Lin Wanyu, he felt the atmosphere suddenly become heavy. His body couldn't help but tremble at this moment. This feeling made Feng Xiaoyun very uncomfortable. It was as if a poisonous snake had locked him in place. It made his entire body uncomfortable. Feng Xiaoyun, right? At this moment, Lin Wanyu moved. Looking at him, she walked step by step towards him. However, Feng Xiaoyun didn't think about what would happen to him. At this moment, he only knew that there was a beauty in front of him and she was walking towards him. In his eyes, Lin Wanyu was walking towards him to throw herself into his arms. Therefore, Feng Xiaoyun nodded and said without the slightest scruple, "Of course, I am Feng Xiaoyun, your future husband. Come." Ha ha ha. Arrogant laughter came from Feng Xiaoyun's mouth. At this moment, the entire place was filled with silence. Only Feng Xiaoyun's laughter could be heard. Very good. Very good. Looking at Feng Xiaoyun, Lin Wanyu was stunned. Then she continued, ever since this young lady started on the path of cultivation, I have never seen someone who doesn't care about his life. You dare to tease this young lady. How many lives do you think you have? Divine Sovereign? Heh. Is he very strong? Rain Sect. Is he very strong? Her expression was filled with disdain as she looked at Feng Xiaoyun. Do you want to know what happened to the person who teased this young lady before? Hearing Lin Huanyu's words, Feng Xiaoyun was stunned and subconsciously asked, What happened? At this moment, even the dumbest person would feel that something was wrong. Moreover, at this moment, a trace of danger rose in his heart. A voice rang in his mind. Run! Run! Quickly leave this place. Of course, Feng Xiaoyun only thought that this voice was a hallucination. After all, as the saying goes, if one dies under a peony flower, it is still romantic even if one becomes a ghost. Ha! Lin Huanyu sneered and stood in front of Feng Xiaoyun. She coldly said, Those who tried to tease this young lady are all dead. Hiss, what? Hearing this, Feng Xiaoyun's heart trembled. At the same time, he finally knew what was wrong. However, it was already too late. Because, at this moment, a hand had already appeared in front of him. Pa! The sound of a slap rang out. After hearing this, the people who came and went were all stunned. F***CK. Isn't this the son of City Lord Feng Hun? This beast is doing something outrageous again. Tisk, outrageous? I don't think so. Didn't you see that he was slapped just now? I feel that this time, Feng Xiaoyun seems to have kicked an iron plate. Tsk. Yeah, look at this group of people. If they are not from sects, then they are from aristocratic families. I feel that this time, Feng Xiaoyun might have really provoked a powerful faction. At this moment, the people who came and went began to chat in their minds. They all knew Feng Xiaoyun. Feng Xiaoyun, they only had a few words for him. Beast, worse than a beast. Why didn't the heavens take him away? Of course, Lin Rei and the others did not know these words in the minds of the passers-by. At this moment, Lin Rei was completely in a state of watching a show. You hit me? At this moment, Feng Xiaoyun recovered from his shock. A burning sensation came from his left cheek. At this moment, other than shock, he was endlessly stunned. He really did not expect that in front of his own house, he would be slapped in the face. Moreover, it was by the woman he liked. Hit you? Lin Huanyu looked at Feng Xiaoyun as if she was looking at an idiot. Do you think that hitting you can eliminate the hatred in this young lady's heart? Don't you think it's too cheap? What you? Hearing this, Feng Xiaoyun's expression changed. Finally, he realized that something was wrong. What do you want? This is Vast Origin City, a place under the jurisdiction of the Rain Sect. You. Stuttering, he used the faction behind him to threaten Lin Huanyu. However, Feng Xiaoyun did not know that because of him, his entire family was on the path of destruction. Oh, Vast Origin City. How amazing! Looking at Feng Xiaoyun, Lin Huanyu was suddenly shocked. But soon, her originally shocked expression turned into disdain and contempt. It was as if what he said was nothing. Crack! The sound of bones breaking suddenly rang out. Accompanying the sound was a melodious scream of pain. Plop! Feng Xiaoyun, who was originally standing, was now lying on the ground, holding his left leg. His face was contorted in pain. Because of the pain, his expression became sinister. Cold sweat instantly covered his face, and his complexion became extremely pale. Oh, bastard you! You stinking bitch you actually, dry tongue! Hearing Feng Xiaoyun's curses, Lin Huanyu frowned. Immediately, she threw a hand seal into Feng Xiaoyun's mouth. The instant Lin Huanyu's hand seal entered Feng Xiaoyun's mouth, a mouthful of blood spurted out. Accompanying the blood was a piece of flesh. If one looked carefully, one would be able to see that it was flesh. Moreover, it was a tongue. Feng Xiaoyun's head. A groaning sound came from Feng Xiaoyun's mouth. However, at this moment, Feng Xiaoyun was no longer holding his left leg. Instead, he was holding his mouth with his hand. He looked at Lin Huanyu, at this beautiful but extremely cruel woman. He was afraid. He regretted it. If he had known that this would be the result, he would not have done this. Moreover, he realized that when Lin Huanyu attacked, he did not react at all. It was not that he did not want to, but that he did not see how Lin Huanyu attacked. What's going on? What's going on? Suddenly, a furious roar sounded. At this moment, just as Feng Xiaoyun was screaming in pain, a pair of armored guards came from afar. In response, Lin Rei frowned and his face darkened. It was as if this group of people had interrupted a good show. He was very unhappy. It's over. It's over. These are the guards of vast origin city. They are Feng Hun's private soldiers. Sai, who said otherwise. Now that Feng Xiaoyun has become like this, those private soldiers will definitely not let this matter rest. Moreover, Feng Hun only has one son. They will definitely not let this matter rest. Sai, these people are in danger. Oh, private soldiers? Hearing the discussions around him, Linley's face was filled with a cold smile. Since they are private soldiers, then there's no need to keep them. This subordinate will be back soon. However, at this moment, when Tianyun heard Lin Rei's words, he understood tacitly. He immediately left the crowd and slowly walked towards the group of private soldiers. Whoa. At this moment, no one was happier than Feng Xiaoyun. When he heard the words of the private soldiers, he felt a sense of hope. In order to attract the attention of the private soldiers, Feng Xiaoyun ignored the pain of having his tongue cut off and began to whimper with all his might. On the other side, the private soldier who was walking towards Linley's group heard the strange noise and looked over. His gaze fell on Feng Xiaoyun, who was lying on the ground with a mouth full of blood and a savage face. Immediately, he frowned, and a baleful aura erupted from his body. Are all of you seeking death? Even my young master dares to treat you in such a manner. You all. Enough. Come at me together. If I kill all of you, I'll have to report back to my superiors. Just when the leader of the private soldiers was halfway through speaking, Tianyun arrived and stood in front of them with a look of disdain. You are with that group as well? The leader of the private soldiers asked with a frown. Sigh. Then, why do you all have to talk so much nonsense before attacking? Looking at them, Tianyun sighed and shook his head. Then his expression froze, and a sharp aura burst out. I gave you all a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Since that's the case, then, this sovereign will be the first to attack. What? Hearing this, the leader of the private soldiers was stunned. However, when he looked over, there was still a figure in front of him. Not good. Be on guard. At this moment, he knew that this person's cultivation was extremely high. As for how high, he didn't know. However, he knew that this person's cultivation was higher than his. However, the moment he said that, miserable cries came from behind him. Following the miserable cries were the sounds of people falling down. Hearing this, the leader of the private soldiers was shocked and quickly turned around. However, what he saw was something he would never forget for the rest of his life. At this moment, the 20 or so guards who came with him were no longer like before. They were all in high spirits. At this moment, they were all lying on the ground. Bright red blood had already corroded the ground. Who exactly are you? Looking at Tianyun, who was standing in the middle of the corpses, the leader of the private soldiers asked. At this moment, he knew that he had lost this time. You don't need to know. All you need to know is that your beloved city lord will be reunited with you very soon. After saying that, without waiting for the leader of the private soldiers to respond, Tianyun's figure flashed past them and walked toward Lin Rei. A line of blood appeared on the throat of the leader of the private soldiers. In an instant, a gush of hot blood spurted out like a fountain. How could this be? Feeling the strange sensation in his throat, the leader raised his hand subconsciously and wiped his throat. Then he placed his hand in front of his eyes. When he saw the bright red blood, his vision blurred. Then, everything turned black and his body fell backward. Just like that, a group of elites in vast origin city was killed in a few breaths. Chapter 842. Woo. Originally, when he saw the private soldier, a glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. However, when he saw the private soldier being killed in an instant, he completely despaired. Others might not know, but he knew it very well. Although they were all guards, they were all existences in the divine ancestor realm. Thus, to be able to kill them in an instant, let alone a divine ancestor realm expert, even his father, Feng Hun, who was a lord god, would not be able to do so. At this moment, he finally knew what kind of people he had offended. They were people he couldn't afford to offend. His family couldn't afford to offend. Even the Rain Sect couldn't afford to offend them. Looking at the private soldier's corpse lying in a pool of blood, Feng Xiaoyun forgot about the pain. He smiled bitterly and collapsed on the ground powerlessly. His face was filled with endless regret. He hated himself for being so useless. He hated himself for being so insensible. He hated his mistake for harming the entire Feng clan. He hated everything he had done. Now that he thought about it, he realized how much of a beast he was. How insensible he was. How disgusting he was. However, no matter how much he regretted it, it was too late. He couldn't hold on to anything. What happened yesterday couldn't be left behind. Today there were too many things to worry about. Everything he had done in the past, everything he had done would be paid for here today. This was his retribution. However, in the end, he had implicated the entire Feng clan. He felt extremely guilty. All right, I won't kill you now. Since you said that your father is powerful, I'll let you know that your so-called powerful father is nothing more than an ant in my eyes. Looking at Feng Xiaoyun, Lin Wanyu said with disdain, as for your family, we'll talk about it when the time comes. Haha. Lying on the ground, listening to the voice of the Grim Reaper, he looked at Lin Wanyu with a relieved smile. He no longer resisted. He no longer cried out in pain. It was as if he had already gotten used to the pain. It was as if he had gotten used to it. Since you've decided, let's go to the Feng clan together. We'll see how this Feng Hun managed to raise such a rebellious son. At this moment, looking at Lin Wanyu, Lin Rei walked out with a smile. Looking at him, Lin Rei patted his shoulder and said, Emin, I understand, master. After obtaining Lin Rei's permission, Lin Wanyu naturally had to go through with it. After all, the anger in her heart had yet to be eliminated. Let's go. As he spoke, he glanced at the nearby Gu Feng. Linley instructed, take young Master Feng to Vast Origin City. Let's see what sort of person the city governor of Vast Origin City, Feng Hun, is, for him to actually allow his son to wreak havoc. Yes, this subordinate. Hearing Linley's orders, Gu Feng, who had been standing in the middle of the crowd and hadn't said a word, bowed and led himself to Feng Xiaoyun, who was covered in blood and lying on the ground. Remember, if there's in your next life, if there is a next life of the next life of the next life of the next life of the next of your life, remember of the Lin. And just like a balloon, spirit chi transformed into a string. One end was grabbed by Gu Feng, and the other end was pulled above the energy in the air. Seeing Gu Feng's actions, Lin Rei smiled and said, let's go. At this moment, Lin Rei and the others moved. They began to walk toward the city gates. As for Lin Wanyu and the others, none of them dared to make a sound. They followed Lin Rei into the city. It seems that the Feng clan is finished this time. This time, the scourge Feng Xiaoyun is finally eliminated. Those who were harmed by him will finally be able to live a peaceful life. That's right. Feng Xiaoyun has been eliminated, but there's still Feng Xiaoyun's mother, Mrs. Han. Although on the surface, it seems that City Lord Feng Hun is backing her, to be honest, I'm certain that Mrs. Han is behind all of this. That's right. Every time City Lord Feng Hun inspects the city, those who were harmed by Feng Xiaoyun are all imprisoned. As a result, after so many years, Vast Origin City has become like this. I'm certain that the main culprit is Mrs. Han. Sigh. At this point, everyone couldn't help but sigh. How they hoped that Vast Origin City would return to its previous state after this incident. Although it would still be somewhat chaotic, at the very least, there wouldn't be another incident like Feng Xiaoyun's. Vast Origin City. In the central region of the city, there was an extremely majestic house that occupied an area of over 1,000 feet. One couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment. The City Lord's mansion was the name of this majestic house. At this moment, in the deepest part of the mansion, in a simple and unadorned room, a middle-aged man was sitting cross-legged on a bed. His brows were tightly knitted, and his face was filled with doubt. The spiritual energy in the surroundings was also extremely chaotic. What's going on? Why am I having this feeling at this time? This shouldn't be. Sensing the hope coming from his surroundings and his body, the man's heart was filled with doubt. Report. Suddenly, a loud shout came from outside the door. The shout was so loud that the middle-aged man, who was originally in a bad mood, immediately stopped cultivating. His brows were tightly knitted, but his expression was extremely gentle. Moreover, his appearance was extremely inconsistent with the gentleness in his expression. It was as if he had the appearance of a man and the expression of a woman. He raised his head and looked outside the door. At this moment, the middle-aged man had already gotten down from the bed. Moreover, he walked up to the door and extended his hand to open it. What's so urgent? What kind of scandal is this to make you lose your manners? At this moment, the instant the door opened, the face of the person outside was revealed. At this moment, a young man was standing at the door. His body was bowed, and he didn't dare to raise his head. His forehead was covered in cold sweat, and his body was trembling violently. It was as if something that terrified him had happened. Upon hearing the middle-aged man's voice, the young man's trembling body calmed down a lot. Then he raised his head and stuttered, "See, City Lord, this is bad." "Why, young City Lord?" "Young City Lord, what happened to him? Isn't he cultivating in the Rain Sect? What happened?" Hearing his subordinate's report, the middle-aged man started to frown. His heart trembled. He felt that what the young man wanted to say was related to his son. At this moment, the middle-aged man was none other than Vast Origin City's City Lord, Feng Xiaoyun's father, and Madame Han's husband, Feng Han. Looking at his subordinate, Feng Han asked, "Speak, what happened to my son?" At this moment, Feng Han, who didn't know what was going on, had no idea that his son was already half dead. Young City Lord. He was beaten by someone. His left hand and left leg were broken. Furthermore, what? Feng Han was greatly alarmed. He had wholeheartedly immersed himself in cultivation. Thus, he felt extremely guilty toward Feng Xiaoyun. In the end, he even personally went to the Rain Sect to plead for leniency so that Feng Xiaoyun could continue to cultivate in the Rain Sect. Never did he expect that his subordinate would actually tell him that his son had an arm and a leg broken by someone. Of course, although he was astonished, Feng Han did not lose his rationality. Instead, he continued to question the young man. "What else did you say? Tell me everything." Sigh. Hearing that, the young man nodded. At the city gate tower, the guards saw that young master's arms and legs were broken. Thus, they immediately went up to question the young master, and ordered him to release the young master. However, a person suddenly appeared. That person faced over 20 guards by himself. That person's expression changed as if Mount Tai was about to collapse. In merely a few breaths' time, over 20 of our brothers were instantly killed. We didn't even have the slightest opportunity to fight back. Hearing those words, Feng Han's expression changed. He was unable to restrain himself from sucking in a mouthful of cold air. He knew his subordinates very well. They were all divine ancestor realm cultivators. Even he would not be able to instantly kill experts like them. Chu Fei's cultivation was stronger than his. He was a martial emperor. Only a martial emperor would possess such strength. Go and prepare some tea and some fruit platters. Bring them to the main hall. Soon, guests will arrive in the mansion. At that moment, Feng Han had an ugly expression on his face. His body started to tremble slightly. Yes, this subordinate understands. When Feng Han raised his head and saw the city lord trembling, he knew that this matter was truly serious. Haha, City Lord Feng is truly a sensible person. You even prepared tea when you knew that this venerated one and the others would be coming. Suddenly, at the instant Feng Han gave the order, a man's voice sounded from afar. "They're here." Hearing that voice, Feng Han sighed in his heart. Then, he soared into the sky and looked toward the direction of the city gate. At that moment, a group of people was rapidly flying toward them. With a single glance, Feng Han knew that they were the group of people that his subordinate had reported to him earlier. Xiaoyun. After Feng Han's gaze swept past the group of people, his gaze finally landed on Feng Xiaoyun, who was in Gu Feng's hand. His entire body was drenched in blood. Seeing his son in such a state, Feng Han's body trembled. He staggered and nearly fell from the sky. This lord is the city lord of Vast Origin City, Feng Han. Seniors, would it be possible for you all to have a seat in the main hall? Looking at Linley and the others, Feng Han bowed in an extremely respectful manner. Amen? This person. Is he really this little fellow's father? Seeing that Feng Han was so polite and courteous, without any arrogance at all, Linley was stunned. It was not only Lin Rei. Even Ying, Bing Dong, and the others were the same. They had seen Feng Xiaoyun before. However, when they saw Feng Han, They did not expect that arrogant, despotic and profligate bastard to be the child of this person before them. After regaining his senses, Lin Rui looked at Feng Hun and said, "Haha. Since City Lord Feng is like this, then this venerated one and the others will be troubling you." Although one could not tell whether a person was good or bad from the surface, one could tell from the person's eyes. Lin Rui could only see heartache, respect, and doubt in Feng Hun's eyes. In response, Lin Rui began to reconsider his previous decision. Should he destroy this place? Should he kill Feng Hun? This was the first time Lin Rui had such a thought. Although Lin Rui did not consider himself a good person, at the very least, he would not be a reluctant person who would persecute people for no reason. After hearing Lin Rui and the others' agreement, Feng Hun smiled and quickly said, "You're too kind. It's my honor to have Senior here. There's no need to say that I'm imposing on you." "Senior, this way please." All right." After saying that, Feng Hun led the way to the main hall. They were not far away from the main hall. At this moment, tea and fruit platters were already placed in the main hall. Feng Hun, who had checked the main hall, heaved a sigh of relief. He carefully walked to the entrance of the main hall. After standing still, he made an inviting gesture to Lin Rui and the others. "Senior, this way please." "Ha!" Seeing Feng Hun act so courteously, Lin Li chuckled, then led them into the guest hall. The main hall was very big. Lin Rui and the others could sit down, but it was not crowded. Moreover, there were still empty seats. Lin Rui and the others sat down. As for Feng Xiaoyun, he was released from the energy barrier by Gu Feng. Plop! The energy barrier was released. Feng Xiaoyun fell to the ground like a dead dog. His entire body was in pain and he was powerless. He laid on the ground without moving, except for his eyes. At this moment, Feng Hun walked in and looked at his son. His heart ached. However, he did not go forward. Instead, he cupped his fist and looked at Lin Rui. He asked, "Senior, how did my good-for-nothing son offend you?" "Humph, your son is so shameless. I just arrived at the entrance of the city and he immediately insulted me. Moreover, he relied on the pressure of you, the city lord, and that Rain Sect's elder Tian Lin to force me to submit. Tell me, does Emperor need to show mercy to such a person?" At this moment, before Lin Rui could say anything, Lin Wanyu opened her mouth and said angrily. Of course, Lin Wanyu knew that this matter was not as simple as she thought. After all, if Feng Hun was really that kind of person who bullied others, how could he be so courteous right now? If it was someone else, they would have already ordered people to surround this place and kill them. What? Take liberties. Take liberties. Hearing Lin Wanyu's words, Feng Hun was shocked. Emperor. Emperor, other than god emperors, who would dare to call themselves that? However, what shocked Feng Hun even more was that his son actually dared to do such a shameless thing. Even if Lin Wanyu was not a god emperor, taking liberties with a young lady was already very excessive. Facing this, Feng Hun's expression immediately became gloomy. Although he was usually very important to his son, he could not afford to lose face like this. As the lord of a city, his son actually dared to do such a thing. How was he supposed to face himself? Bastard, you unfilial son, your father is usually very important to you. What have you done? How did your mother teach you? After saying that, he raised his head and ordered the guards at the entrance. Go, call the madam out. Only call her. As for what happened here, do not speak of it. Today, I want to see exactly how his mother teaches her son. Do you understand? Chapter 843. Haha, seeing Feng Hun like this, everyone knew that perhaps what Feng Xiaoyun did had nothing to do with them. Looking at him, Lin Rui couldn't help but pout. He picked up the teacup on the table and began to taste the tea. As a cultivator, Feng Hun might be very determined, but as a father, there was no doubt that he was a failure. Of course, Lin Rui and the others couldn't ask for leave. At this moment, they just wanted to see what Feng Hun would do next. The scene fell into silence, and the atmosphere was filled with awkwardness and seriousness. Especially Feng Hun. He looked at Lin Li and the others, and then looked at the disheartened expression on the ground. For a moment, he did not know what to do. Report, father is here. Suddenly, a voice sounded. In the hall, other than Lin Rui, Everyone's eyes were focused on the entrance of the hall. Everyone wanted to see who the Madame Feng Hun was talking about was. However, at this moment, a silhouette dressed in luxurious clothes slowly walked to the entrance of the hall. The silhouette walked into the crowd's line of sight. Master, when did you come out of seclusion? Why didn't you inform me in advance so that I could greet you in advance? A voice full of awkwardness and coquettishness came from the noble lady at the door. At this moment, the middle-aged woman came into view. Regardless of whether she was a beauty or not, just by looking at the jewelry on her body, everyone knew that this woman was a disaster. She twisted her body and said as she came to Feng Hun's side. She reached out to pull Feng Hun, but who knew that the moment the woman's hand was about to touch Feng Hun's figure flashed and cleverly dodged the madam's action. Looking at the dodging Feng Hun, the madam's hand stopped in midair. Her breathing suddenly became quiet. The madam originally had a smile on her face. At this moment, her face was gloomy, and a trace of gloominess flashed across her face. Perhaps in the eyes of others, he hid his expression very well. However, in Lin Rei's divine sense, there was nowhere to hide. It could even be said that it was exposed without a doubt. Moreover, just a moment ago, when Lin Rei extended his divine sense, he suddenly discovered something very interesting. Feng Xiaoyun, who was lying on the ground, had a completely different bloodline from Feng Hun. The two bloodlines did not seem to resonate with each other. Sensing this, the previously expressionless Lin Li revealed a hint of an amused smile. Generally speaking, if it was his own son, their bloodlines should resonate with each other. But at this moment, Feng Xiaoyun did not have this feeling at all. This meant that this Feng Xiaoyun might not be Feng Hun's biological son. Coupled with the change in the woman's expression, Lin Rei suddenly thought of something interesting. You always tell me how Xiaoyun usually behaves. Did he use his status as the city lord's young city lord to commit crimes outside? Did he bully others? Did he, what are you talking about? At this moment, hearing her husband's words, the madam's expression suddenly changed, and her body couldn't help but tremble. No. Are you sure? Feng Hun clearly saw the change in the madam's expression, and her expression suddenly changed. Feng Hun's heart thumped, and a bad premonition appeared in his mind. He knew that what Feng Hun said might be true, or even more. Thinking of this, Feng Hun's gaze became sharp, and he took a step closer to the madam. He stared into her eyes, and an invisible pressure was emitted, and he asked again. Xiaoyun? Seeing her husband step closer, the madam couldn't help but take a step back, and her gaze became evasive. However, as she looked away, suddenly, she saw Feng Xiaoyun lying not far away, covered in blood. Suddenly, her expression changed, and she cried out in shock. With a plop, she ran past Feng Hun, directly to Feng Xiaoyun's side, and without caring about her image, she directly knelt down beside him and reached out her hand. Tears flowed from her eyes, and her face was extremely pale and filled with hatred. How could this be? Who was it? Who was it that broke my son's arm and leg? Who cut off my son's tongue? Who was it that was so cruel, so vicious? A furious roar came from the madam's mouth, and her voice was filled with coldness. In response to the madam's words, Feng Hun's body trembled, and the anticipation on his face completely disappeared. Although his madam was usually a bit troublesome and liked to act spoiled, this was the first time he had seen her in such a state. At the same time, he knew that his son had become like this because of her dereliction of duty as a mother. Perhaps she even knew about the evildoers outside. However, she didn't try to dissuade him, nor did she tell him. She even used her status as the city lord to put pressure on the outside world. Thinking of this, Feng Hun's body trembled, and he suddenly took a step back. His body went limp, and he sat down on the ground, a dazed expression on his face. At this time, Lin Rei, who hadn't said anything, saw this scene. He knew that he might have wrongly blamed Feng Hun, and felt a bit guilty. Looking at the madam and Feng Xiaoyun, Lin Rei smiled and said, "Just like what you said. Indeed, like mother like son. How can such a mother teach a good thing?" At this moment, the madam, who was kneeling on the ground, holding her son in pain and speaking viciously from time to time, suddenly raised her head and looked in the direction of the voice. "What do you mean? My son, you didn't do this to him, did you?" The madam seemed to have realized something, and she suddenly stood up and looked at Lin Rei. "That's right. I did do this to your son." He didn't refuse, and he didn't want to lie, because he didn't need to. Furthermore, in order to clear his heart of guilt, he wanted to give Feng Hun some pointers. You bastard. Hearing the other party's confirmation, she subconsciously glanced at her son. Then, she turned her head and looked at her husband with a vicious tone. She said, "Husband, you should say something fair. The person who hurt our son is right here. Hurry. Hurry up and refine and suppress him. Let Queen extract his soul. Peel his skin and pull out his tendons. Let him suffer all kinds of torture. Let Queen put his soul into the 9 underworlds water. Let him suffer day and night in the 9 underworlds water. Let him suffer for eternity as compensation for our son." After roaring angrily at Feng Hun, Wu Yan didn't say anything else. Instead, he smiled cruelly and looked at Lin Rei and the others, as if waiting for Feng Hun to make a move. However, everything didn't go as the madam expected. After waiting for a long time, her husband didn't make a move. For a moment, she couldn't help but be stunned. Then, with a puzzled expression, she turned to look at her husband. Why don't you make a move?" She looked at her husband who was still sitting on the ground with a dazed expression. Looking at her husband who was still unmoved, the madam was stunned. Her cold smile suddenly disappeared, and in the blink of an eye, it was replaced by a cruel smile. She said to the guards outside the door, "Fine. Since you don't want to do it, then let me end these people's lives as compensation for our son." "Where are the guards outside the door?" "As the madam of the city lord, I order you to restrain this group of people." "Yes, we obey." Hearing the madam's order, the guards outside the door immediately rushed into the hall, intending to make a move. "Back down." Suddenly, just as they were about to rush into the hall, Feng Hun, who was sitting on the ground, suddenly shouted angrily. "It is true that you are the guards of the city lord's residence, but your job is to protect the city. Get out. Without my order, no one is allowed to enter this place. Do you understand?" Hearing those words, the guards looked at the madam, then looked at Feng Hun. Then, they all obeyed Feng Hun's order and left. Seeing how Feng Hun handled things, the madam's complexion alternated between green and red. Her face was filled with unsightly and resentment. She did not expect that her husband would actually stop her from taking revenge. She looked at him with disbelief. Her heart was filled with confusion and anger. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Having lost her chance, the madam raised her head and laughed loudly. Her face was filled with depression, helplessness and sorrow. Only today did he find out that his son and his wife were completely different from what he had imagined. I never expected that my reputation would be ruined by the two of you. Originally, I thought that my son would be able to receive good training in the Rain Sect. But who would have thought, after saying that, Feng Hun suddenly stood up and looked at her with a sneer. Do you know that your son was crippled because of teasing and causing trouble? No matter what happened to your son, he is still your son. Your own son was bullied by others, yet you don't care about it at all. Instead, you're questioning me. Is he really Feng Hun's son? I don't think so. At this moment, Lin Rei looked at the madam and said, "What?" Lin Rei's words caused everyone to look at Lin Rei. Of course, the madam who had saved the madam immediately looked away after hearing his words. It was as if something had stepped on her tail. What do you mean? At this moment, Feng Hun spoke. At this moment, his tone was very abnormal. He was not shouting angrily. Instead, he was very calm. He was so calm that it made people's hair stand on end. Looking at Feng Hun, Lin Li glanced at the others. Smiling, he said, "TSK, actually, it's nothing much. I just accidentally discovered that this so-called son of yours doesn't resonate with your bloodline at all. There's no feeling of him resonating at all. Normally, if it's your biological son, it shouldn't be like this. So, one thing is very clear about this matter. Feng Xiaoyun is not your son." After saying that, Lin Rei looked at the madam with interest and smiled. "Perhaps your wife knows about this matter." Everyone's eyes all looked at the madam. At this moment, everyone looked at Feng Hun with a similar gaze. At the same time, some people looked at Feng Hun with sympathy. Feng Hun, everyone felt deep sympathy for him. If this matter was true, then Feng Hun's green hat was really a professional. Not only did he wear a green hat, but he also helped her raise the child. TSK. Thinking about it, this matter really made people have the urge to vomit blood. Of course, if this matter happened to the crowd, they probably wouldn't be as calm as Feng Hun. Heh, no. Blood relationship. Looking at the madam, Feng Hun's face showed a trace of absent-mindedness. He even muttered to himself what Lin Rei said. No, it's not like that. No, husband, you don't believe him. He's just afraid of your revenge. Don't believe that Xiao Yun is really your son. You, seeing her husband so absent-minded and pale, the madam's heart thumped violently. Fear emerged from the bottom of her heart. As Feng Hun's wife, she knew very well that if it was any other matter, perhaps this matter would be very easy to deal with. However, there was one thing about Feng Hun, and that was that he especially hated betrayal. If this matter was confirmed, it would be equivalent to her betrayal. What would he do? What would she do? Revenge? Do you think that a god emperor cultivator would be afraid of my revenge after knowing that he's a divine sovereign? After regaining his senses, he looked at the madam and sneered. Just a moment ago, when he heard Lin Rei's words, he personally sensed it. However, at this moment, he finally proved that Lin Rei was right. That was because he didn't feel the slightest bit of resonance between their bloodlines from Feng Xiaoyun's body. What? God? God Emperor? How is this possible? How could he be a god emperor? This. At this moment, the madam was truly afraid. Originally, she thought that the other party wasn't very strong and could still shirk responsibility. However, the other party was actually a god emperor. This was completely unexpected. At this moment, she knew that the matter might have been exposed. What should she do? Sigh. I didn't expect that I, Feng Hun, would be troubled by this matter one day. Looking at the madam, Feng Hun's heart was filled with pain. He truly didn't expect that his wife would actually make him a cuckold. Furthermore, what made him even angrier was that the son that he had painstakingly raised had actually become someone else's son. No matter how strong Feng Hun's heart was, he still couldn't endure such a blow in the end. Gu Feng, go. Bring them out. While you're at it, search the entire city lord's mansion. Find someone whose bloodline resonates with Feng Xiaoyun's. If you find them, capture them as well. At this moment, seeing the struggle and hesitation in Feng Hun's eyes, Lin Rei was stunned for a moment. After a sigh, he said to Gu Feng. Yes, this subordinate obeys. After receiving the order, Gu Feng appeared beside the madam and Feng Hun in a flash. Then, he brought them with him and instantly disappeared from the main hall. Seeing Lin Rei's actions, Feng Hun's expression was filled with confusion. He didn't understand why Lin Rei was acting like this. Heh! This sovereign admires you. Seeing the confusion in Feng Hun's eyes, Lin Rei smiled. Then he said, this sovereign admires your character very much. Furthermore, your cultivation level isn't low either. If you submit to this sovereign can help you reach a higher level. You can even break through a realm that you can't even imagine. What do you think? Chapter 844. Ugh. Feng Hun was stunned. How could he speak to Lin Rei in such a manner? He stared at Lin Rei blankly, not knowing what was wrong. Not only Feng Hun, but even Lin Rei's group was the same. They were a little puzzled by Lin Rei's decision. Although Feng Xiaoyun's matter had nothing to do with Feng Hun, in fact, Feng Hun was a little miserable. However, no one could figure out what Lin Rei saw in him. A monarch god realm cultivator. Of course, no one dared to object to Lin Rei's thoughts, nor did they dare to refute. They just stood there quietly and waited. How is it? This condition isn't open to just anyone. Think about it. Moreover, as he spoke, he looked at the situation around him, lowered his head, and continued. You are a person who focuses on cultivation. I can see that. How much do you think you have achieved here? How long will it take for you to break through to the Emperor realm? Moreover, the lifespan of an Emperor realm cultivator is limited. Do you think you can live as long as the heavens and earth? As he spoke, Lin Rei paused for a moment. Think about it carefully. I will give you time to think about it. 3 days. I will only give you 3 days. I will stay in the city for 3 days. I believe it won't be difficult to find me in the future. After 3 days, I will leave. I will not wait for you after that. Think about your original intention and see what you want. Is it this wasted position or the pursuit of the peak of the Tao? As he spoke, he looked at his disciple behind him and smiled. Little you, let's forget about this matter. I believe Feng Hun will know how to deal with it. Let's go. Hearing this, Lin Wanyu could only nod. Yes, master. Let's go. After he finished speaking, he ignored Feng Hun, who was standing there in a daze, and walked out. Whoosh! Suddenly, a sound pierced through the air. It was Gu Feng who left when Lin Rei arrived at the entrance of the hall. When he saw Lin Rei, Gu Feng stopped, cupped his hands and nodded. Young master, this subordinate has completed the matter you asked me to do. And as you expected, in the city lord's mansion, we found a man, it seems. As he spoke, Gu Feng couldn't help but look at Feng Hun, who was still in a daze. He then slowly said, It seems to be the city lord's mansion's butler. This subordinate repeatedly confirmed that Feng Xiaoyun is indeed the butler and Mrs. Han's son. N. Hearing Gu Feng's report, Lin Li nodded. All right, got it. You can leave now. Yes. As he spoke, Gu Feng retreated behind Lin Rei and didn't speak. The hall fell into silence again. Turning his head, he looked at Feng Hun. Lin Li's heart was filled with sighs. It seemed that this was a fatal blow to Feng Hun. But of course, Lin Li trusted that Feng Hun would definitely be able to recover. After all, Lin Li could sense his Tao heart. When he saw Feng Hun, Lin Li knew that Feng Hun had the heart to become a powerhouse. It was because of this heart that Lin Li had the idea of subduing him for his own use. Looking at him, Lin Rei comforted him. I'll leave this matter to you. As for the specifics, it's your family's matter. But remember, I'll only give you 3 days. As he spoke, he seemed to think of something. With a thought, he took out an empty bottle from his interspatial ring and threw it to Feng Hun. This pill should be able to help you break through the middle stage and enter the late stage. It's your compensation. At this moment, in the hall, Feng Hun came back to his senses and subconsciously reached out to catch the pill. He looked down and revealed a strange expression. Let's go. He didn't say anything else. Lifting his feet, he walked out. This time, Lin Li really did leave. He didn't look back. Lin Rei didn't want to guess about Feng Hun, but Lin Rei still hoped that he could submit to him. This way, perhaps one day in the future, he would become one of his generals. AI. Is the heavens playing with me? Why are they doing this to me? Where is my beautiful wife? Where is my son? Why did it become like this? My wife had an affair with the butler behind my back, and my son isn't even his. More importantly, he had raised Feng Xiaoyun to this age. Even though he wasn't his biological son, he had raised him. It would be a lie to say that he didn't have any feelings for him. At this moment, Feng Hun was in a difficult situation. He didn't know what to do with his wife and son. Of course, this was only for his wife and son. As for the butler, Feng Hun wouldn't be merciful. Thinking about this, a trace of killing intent rushed out of his eyes, and he said, Men. Haka. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps could be heard. A young man wearing armor walked in from outside the door. When he saw Feng Hun, he suddenly knelt on the ground and said, Subordinate Lu Yun greets the city lord. I wonder what orders the city lord has for this subordinate to come here? HM? Lu Yun. Hearing the young man's report, Feng Hun paused for a moment before coming back to his senses. He didn't think too much and said, Go and bring the butler, madam, and Xiaoyun here. Hearing this, Lu Yun was startled, but he quickly said, Yes, this subordinate will do it right away. Saying this, Lu Yun got up and rushed outside. Looking at Lu Yun's disappearing figure, Feng Hun felt powerless. He was no longer the tall, mighty, and intimidating city lord from before. Thump, thump, thump. Feng Hun took a few steps back and sat down on a chair powerlessly. At this moment, Feng Hun was paralyzed, and his face was filled with sorrow. Not long after, Lu Yun returned, and he brought the butler, his wife, and son. Looking at the people outside, Feng Hun forced himself to calm down and said, Come in. Yes. Hearing this, Lu Yun brought the 3 people into the hall and threw them on the ground. He tactfully retreated to the side and didn't say anything. Seeing Lu Yun like this, Feng Hun was stunned for a moment, but then he felt relieved. He shifted his gaze to his wife, son, and housekeeper. Looking at them, a murderous aura swept past Feng Hun's eyes and disappeared in an instant. AI. Tell me, did this lord not treat you well? Why did you betray this lord, and this child? Is not this lord's? Why didn't you say so earlier? If you had said so earlier, perhaps this lord wouldn't be like this now, and perhaps I would have let your family leave. You. Looking at his wife, Han Shi, Feng Hun powerlessly spoke. It could be seen that Feng Hun cared a lot about Han Shi. Ah, you think we left? You didn't treat me badly? Feng Hun, who are you trying to fool? Hearing this, Han Shi's heart seemed to be touched. Her face became slightly angry as she roared at Feng Hun. I've been married to you for hundreds of years, and although you treated me very well and let me enjoy a life that all women would envy, but you have to know that I am a woman, and I cannot live without you. But what about you? Other than cultivation, all I do is cultivate. Have you ever thought about me? Have you ever thought about how I lived? In the family, I was afraid that those gossipy people would find out, so I rarely went back. As she spoke, tears gushed out of Han Shi's eyes. It was as if this matter was an eternal wound to her. Hearing his wife's words, Feng Hun was stunned. His expression was filled with difficulty. He did not think that this would bring her harm. Moreover, cultivation. The reason why he worked so hard to cultivate, wasn't it all for the sake of letting them live a good life? If he did not have powerful abilities, how could he have sat on the position of the city lord? If he did not have powerful abilities, how could she wear gold and silver and not have to worry about food and clothing? If he did not have powerful abilities, how could he protect his family? At this moment, hearing his wife's words, Feng Hun was a bit unable to accept it. What you said is only an excuse for you to betray this lord. You. As he spoke, Feng Hun sighed and then turned his spear to point at the trembling housekeeper. Looking at him, a shocking murderous aura rushed out of his body and locked onto him. You're very good. I did not think that after all these years, this lord would personally raise an ingrate. Feng Hun's heart was filled with regret towards the housekeeper. If I had known earlier, I would not have saved you from the wolves. Now you, saying this, Feng Hun closed his eyes and a tear flowed out from his eye. His face was filled with grief. Silence. No one spoke. Hearing this, Lu Yun's heart was filled with shock. He did not think that such a shocking thing would happen today. Sigh. The scene was broken by Feng Hun's sigh. He recovered from his grief and wiped away the tears on his face. Lu Yun, take the housekeeper away. Take good care of him. Do not let him die early. As for the rest, do as you deem fit. Yes. Yes, this subordinate obeys. Lu Yun did not want to accept this order. After all, this had already touched on the city lord's family matters. However, he could not do anything about it. In the end, he accepted it. After responding, Lu Yun went forward and grabbed the housekeeper's hand. After bowing to Feng Hun, he left. Seeing Lu Yun leave, Feng Hun slowly got up and went to Han Shi's side. Looking at her, Feng Hun did not say anything. He sighed and then raised his hand to slap Han Shi's head. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. At this moment, Han Shi was completely stunned. Her expression was filled with disbelief and regret. With a sigh. He left Han Shi's side and went to Feng Xiaoyun's side. Looking at the unconscious Feng Hun, he raised his hand to deal with him. But, however, the instant he raised his hand, the memories of the past appeared in his mind. Regarding this, he hesitated. Forget it. With a sigh, he turned and left. In the end, he did not have the determination to deal with Feng Xiaoyun. As the saying goes, if you can't play, you won't be annoyed. Since Han Shi was already dead, this matter was over. Ignoring it, he turned and left the hall. Liaoyuan East City, in a restaurant for guests from afar, Lin Rei and the others came out of the city lord's residence and stopped in front of the door. Is this the restaurant that Bai Qi and Ming booked? It looks pretty good. It is indeed not bad. Ying agreed with a happy smile. Let's go. He nodded and agreed. Then, he walked into the guests from afar. Do you want to eat or stay here? Right at this moment, as soon as Lin Li entered the restaurant, a waiter walked over from afar, and a classic sentence entered the ears of Lin Li and the others. Looking at the waiter, Lin Rei smiled and said, "Someone has already booked it." The waiter nodded. "Since that's the case, please take a seat. There are so many of you here. Hee, it's a bit, okay. Understanding the waiter's intentions, Linley smiled awkwardly and walked towards an empty area. Even though there were many people, they were still able to sit down. Seeing this, no one was too reserved. After Lin Rei sat down, they also sat down. "Waiter, look at the number of people. Let's order your signature dishes and open the restaurant. That's all. If there's nothing else, you can leave," Lin Rei said. Hearing that the customer ordered so many dishes, the waiter was naturally happy and left immediately. Phew. Letting out a long breath, a smile appeared on his face. "Xiaoyu, this time, the main purpose of your trip here is to train. Thus, Master is going to give you a mission. Do you dare to accept it?" At this moment, looking at his eldest disciple, Linley opened his mouth and asked, "What is it, Master?" At this moment, Lin Wanyu, who had been bored to death, suddenly became interested. She had come here to increase her cultivation level, and Linley's actions were exactly what she wanted. It's simple. This time, the Rain Sect is involved. Therefore, your mission is to challenge the Rain Sect. How about it? Do you dare to accept this mission? Challenge the Rain Sect? At this moment, Lin Wanyu was stunned. She wasn't as excited as before. After this incident, she understood that the Rain Sect was a super sect here. There were many supreme gods and a few supreme gods in the sect. With her current cultivation, she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to make it out alive in the end. Understanding Lin Wanyu's thoughts, Lin Rei smiled and said, "Don't worry. If you want to go, you won't be alone. I will send Bai Qi and Jian Wei with you. At that time you just have to do what you need to do. Don't worry about anything else. No one will be able to disturb you." Hearing this, Lin Wanyu, who was originally hesitating, immediately became determined and agreed. "Okay, I promise, Master. Then when do I act?" Seeing her change, Lin Rei was stunned. Then he understood. "After this meal, you can act whenever you want. Bai Qi and the others will follow you." "Okay, I understand." She nodded and didn't say anything else. This matter was taken care of. However, Lin Rei didn't stop there. Instead, he said to his second disciple, "Shun, you go too. You go to the Sword Sect. I will also send Tian Yun and Ming Ming to follow you." Chapter 845. Okay. After being stunned for a moment, he recovered and hurried down. A strange Yuan didn't resist at all. He was even a little excited. After all, to be able to challenge an entire sect, although not all of them, could increase his knowledge and experience. A strange Yuan was very willing to do so. "If that's the case, Master, I'll take my leave after this meal." At this moment, a strange Yuan volunteered. With that, he quickly turned to Tianyun and Ming. Looking at them, a strange Yuan smiled and said, "Please take care of me in the future." "No, it's just part of our job." Seeing a strange Yuan being so polite, Tianyun and Ming smiled. Good. Seeing them like this, Lin Rei was relieved. "Okay, since that's the case, we'll do as you said. After this meal, you can leave." With that, he looked at Cullen and Ling Euro. Just like before, he looked at them. "The same goes for the two of you." With that, Lin Rei looked at Ying and Bing with a guilty expression. He had asked them to come out and have fun, but now, "Tell us, what do you want us to do?" As Lin Rei's wives, when they saw the guilty expression in Lin Rei's eyes, they knew what Lin Rei was thinking. No one knows me better than Ying." Seeing that Ying had guessed his thoughts, Lin Rei didn't think too much about it. He said, "It's simple. This time, you two follow Little Four to the equipment refining sect and check on them. After so many years of being in a high position, it's time for them to be on their guard." As he spoke, a devilish smile appeared at the corners of Linley's lips. Seeing this, Shadow's lips twitched. He knew what was going on. Then she nodded and said, "I know. Don't worry. With the two of us here, we'll guarantee Little Four's safety." That's great." With that, a tender and worried expression appeared on his face. Little Four's safety is guaranteed, But you two have to be safe too. Otherwise, I'll be sad. There are so many people. Hearing their husbands say this, Ice and Shadow blushed. They stretched out their hands and placed them on Linley's waist. On the soft flesh of Linley's waist, they used their womanly fingers. Humph! A muffled groan came from Lin Ray's mouth. Of course, this was just an act by Lin Ray. After all, his body was already at the half-step saint realm. Even if the two of them were powerful, they still wouldn't be able to hurt him. Of course, the reason why he did this was to cooperate with his wife. All right, I'll leave little four to you. But remember, there's always someone better out there. Don't be careless. Go there safely and return safely. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Looking at their husband's serious face, the two of them nodded seriously and didn't say anything. Nodding, his gaze landed on Karen. Looking at his fifth disciple, Lin Ray was worried. After all, among his disciples, he was the only one who was still at the peak of the early-stage God-Emperor realm. Looking at Karen, Lin Ray slowly said, "Fifth brother, you should go to the Donzong Sect. I'm familiar with that place. There are many experts there. You're only at the peak of the early-stage God-Emperor realm, so remember you have to be careful. Of course, this is just your first mission. After you finish challenging the Donzong Sect, you can challenge the Array Sect if your cultivation improves. Remember you have to be strong before you can go. Do you understand?" At this moment, Lin Ray's face was solemn and worried. The Array Sect is a sect that specializes in cultivating arrays. Of course, the cultivators there are very strong. So if you really go to the Array Sect, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. You have to focus on comprehending arrays. If you can break through to the late-stage Emperor realm in your comprehension of arrays, that would be the best. Yes, your disciple understands. Don't worry, Master. Your disciple will definitely remember your words. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Right now, Cullen was extremely excited. If everything really went according to Linley's plan, that would be perfect. After all, ever since Lin Shenyuan broke through, they were all brothers. They were all working hard to surpass him. Kuei Gang, you and Red Lotus should go together. In addition to Jie Yang, you should take this opportunity to temper yourself. Saying that, his gaze landed on Jie Yang by the side. His eyes were filled with an inquiring light. Amen, I understand. I will. Jie Yang nodded and didn't reject. After all, he also felt that this was a rare opportunity and didn't want to miss it. Nodding, a smile appeared on their faces. With this, the four disciples all went out. The only one left was Xiao San. Because he had just broken through, Lin Ray didn't plan to send him out on a mission. Instead, he wanted to keep him by his side and let him slowly temper himself. At this moment, everyone's gaze landed on Lin Shenyuan. At this moment, everyone was very curious about what mission Lin Ray would give him. At this moment, seeing everyone's gaze on his third disciple, Lin Ray smiled. His heart was like a mirror. He knew what everyone was thinking. Under everyone's expectant gaze, Lin Ray spoke, "Xiao San, you have just broken through to the early stage of the Hierarch realm. Your realm isn't very stable yet. Also, I felt that your principles weren't very stable. So, follow me for this period of time. As for what to do, I will tell you when the time comes." What? Teacher. Third junior brother. Why doesn't third junior brother go out to train? Yes, teacher. Although third junior brother has broken through to the Hierarch realm, but, Moss. Teacher, I also want to be by your side. I also want to be by your side, teacher. At this moment, when they heard Lin Ray's arrangement for Lin Shenyuan, the disciples reacted violently. Seeing his senior sister and junior brother's reaction, Lin Shenyuan was stunned. He didn't expect this to happen, let alone encounter such a situation. Seeing his senior sister and junior brother's protest, Lin Shenyuan frowned. He then looked at Lin Ray and begged, "Teacher, junior brother world is right. Although I am at the early stage of the Hierarch realm, I still... Enough." Not waiting for little three to finish, Linley said in a low voice. His previously gentle face was now gone. All that was left was a gloomy, uncertain face, a face that caused everyone to feel dread. Lin Wanyu and the others immediately knew that they had lost their composure. They lowered their heads and didn't say anything. Looking at his disciples, Lin Rei said angrily, "Look at you. You are all emperor gods. Why are you still so impetuous? I have my reasons for letting Xiao San stay here. Moreover, he is at the early stage of the Hierarch realm and has the Shenyuan sword. Even a late-stage Hierarch realm expert might not be able to defeat Xiao San. Tell me, do you still need to let him go out and carry out the mission with such strength?" At this moment, the scene fell into silence. No one dared to speak. This matter is settled. Xiao San will follow me. As for Pai Xiu and 8th baby, go out and take a look. See if there are any good treasures in the 9th state. I believe that with 8th baby's help and Pai Xiu's cultivation, you can do whatever you want in the 9th state. After 500 years, we will gather here. At that time, I might be able to bring you into the holy world. Hiss. As soon as he said that, everyone present was stunned. The holy world was a place that all cultivators dreamed of. At this moment, they were working so hard to enter the holy world. So, you only need 500 years to enter the holy world? Are you sure you can jump 2 small realms in 500 years? At this moment, 8th baby regained his senses and questioned. One should know that a small realm of the Hierarch realm was not the same as a divine monarch or divine emperor realm. An ordinary person would need more than a few hundred years to break through a small realm. Some people would even go into seclusion for 10,000 years or even longer just to break through a small realm of the Hierarch realm. If those Hierarch-level cultivators were to hear Linley's words, most likely, they would all gang up and attack him. All right, let's do it. At this moment, Pai Xiu suddenly opened his mouth with a confident smile. If it was someone else, Pai Xiu might not believe it. However, since it was Lin Rei who said it, the result would be different. Do you know what you are saying? 500 years. How is that possible? At this moment, 8th baby's face was filled with manliness. He could not understand why Pai Xiu would trust Lin Rei so much. Don't worry, this kid is not an ordinary person. Others might not be able to do it, but he can. He might not even need 500 years to reach that height. Seeing the Pai Xiu praise him like this, Linley couldn't help but smile bitterly. To be honest, 500 years, even his heart was beating like a drum. But he had to say 500 years, because at this moment, he only had 500 years left. He didn't have any more. All right, let's eat. At this moment, the atmosphere became a little cold. At this moment, all the dishes were served on the table. In response, Lin Rei quickly said, "All right, just like that, everyone gave up on the previous 500 years and entered a state where they could eat." At this moment, Lin Rei was calculating in his heart. To be honest, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the middle Hierarch realm. He was only a step away from the late Hierarch realm. However, it was this step that required an opportunity to break through. And this opportunity might come in the next moment, 10 years, 100 years, or even 1,000 years. At this moment, Lin Rei was very worried. Just how was he going to break through to the next realm in the group? Just like he said, he didn't have much time left. Even though it was only 500 years, in the eyes of cultivators, this time was just the blink of an eye. One closed-door cultivation, one experiential learning time would be gone in a flash. At this moment, no one spoke. They all ate in unison, ignoring each other. City Lord's residence. In the deepest part of the City Lord's residence, in Feng Hun's room, Feng Hun had already returned to his room. As for the matter of his wife and son, he had already settled it. Madame Han died, but Feng Xiaoyun, Feng Hun couldn't do it. In the end, Feng Hun's heart softened and he chased Feng Xiaoyun out. But before that, Feng Hun cured Feng Hun's short leg. As for the severed arm, Feng Hun ignored it. Madame Han was also thrown into a mass grave by the City Lord's residence people. For this kind of person, even though they were husband and wife, but in the end, she still betrayed him. So, Feng Hun couldn't tolerate it. As for Feng Xiaoyun, Feng Hun chased him out. Although he didn't kill him, he left him to fend for himself. An ordinary person without cultivation, could only rely on himself to survive in this world. Regarding this, Feng Hun had a clear conscience. After all, He had raised him for so long for nothing. Not killing him was already enough to offset the time he called him father. Sigh. I don't care anymore. Everything will be resolved. Let him deal with the rest. Whether or not he can survive will depend on his own luck. After saying that, Feng Hun let out a long sigh. Then, his body and mind became empty, and he threw all those troublesome matters to the back of his mind. Of course, at this time, Feng Hun finally had time to check the pill Lin Rei gave him before he left. With a thought, he took out the pills that Lin Li had given him from his interspatial ring. The pill bottle was transparent, and there were some floral patterns engraved on it. It was a very comfortable design, and after grabbing it, a refreshing energy flowed into his body from his palm. TSK. The fruit platter is not ordinary. A pill bottle is so extravagant. As for the pill bottle, Feng Hun didn't know what it was made of, but he was sure that the pill bottle had the effect of removing inner demons. As such, the value of the pill bottle was extremely high. Such a valuable item was used to store a pill. At this moment, Feng Hun felt that this pill was even more valuable. Pop! He opened the pill bottle. In an instant, a pill fragrance that made his heart tremble and excited spread through the room. Hiss! This pill. Smelling the pill fragrance and feeling the abnormality in his body, his originally closed eyes suddenly opened. His gaze was filled with a burning light. This thing can increase cultivation. What pill is this? At this time, Feng Hun clearly felt that his cultivation was increasing bit by bit. Although the speed was very slow, it was enough to make him shocked and excited. Let's do it. Looking at the pill and thinking about the temptation of breaking through, Feng Hun couldn't care less. He thought that there was something wrong with the pill, but, in the face of the temptation of breaking through, gulp. He didn't care about anything else and ate it first. The pill melted in his mouth and went down his throat. Finally, it landed in his chest. Then, the medicinal effect spread in all directions. It was just a silver pill, but it had such a fragrance. The fragrance lingered in his mouth and teeth, making him forget to leave. Boom! Suddenly, the moment Feng Hun recalled the pill fragrance, a terrifying medicinal effect appeared in the pill that was originally filled with gentle medicinal effect. It rushed to his limbs and bones. The medicinal effect was so strong that Feng Hun was shocked. The medicinal effect was very strong and filled with tyrannical qi. If he didn't refine it in time, he was afraid that, in a light case, his cultivation would be crippled. In a heavy case, he would explode and die. Chapter 846. Come on. Let's see what level I can reach this time. Sensing the medicinal power in his body, Feng Hun's eyes flashed. He closed his eyes, activated his cultivation technique, and began to refine the pill. At this moment, Feng Hun was both excited and nervous. After all, if he could successfully refine the pill, then the level of his breakthrough would be limitless. Of course, it was also at this moment that Feng Hun's originally hesitant heart became resolute. His heart was no longer yours. He had agreed to Lin Rei's conditions, to submit to Lin Rei and become his subordinate. It wasn't just for the pill. It was also to help the Han clan. Also, it was because of his desire to reach the peak of the Tao. He wanted to become, like Lin Rei said, a true expert. He wanted to break through the shackles of the godly exalted level and enter the holy world, a place he didn't even dare to imagine. He wanted to become an expert. He wanted to become someone above others. He wanted to become the person he wanted to be. Huff, huff, huff. Feng Hun entered a deep state of cultivation. In the room, the four sides were sealed, but there was a gentle breeze blowing. Feng Hun's robe was like a balloon, puffing up. Above his head, 3,000 strands of hair fluttered in all directions even though there was no wind. However, at this moment, Lin Li could not stop what Feng Hun was doing. Of course, Lin Li had already finished eating. In the time it took to finish a meal, everyone finished eating very quickly. At this moment, in a restaurant far away, Lin Rei sat in place, looking around at everyone. His face was full of smiles, as if something good had happened. All right, all of you should have a mission now. Be careful. Rumble. Hearing Lin Rei's words, everyone rose to their feet. The rumbling sound attracted the attention of everyone else in the restaurant. We will follow masters, young masters, orders. Be careful. I'm not bad. Seeing his disciples like this, Lin Rei's face was filled with gratification. These disciples had always been his pride. With disciples like this, what more could he ask for? It's settled then. You may leave. Go wherever you want to go. Remember, your mission is to challenge the sect. If you succeed in your challenge, if you have time, go to the caves, secret realms, and danger zones in the 9th province. You might be able to find something useful there. Yes, we will do as you say. At this moment, everyone was willing to recover. After all, they could increase their cultivation. How could they not be willing? All right, go ahead. As he spoke, he raised his hand and waved to the crowd. This time, the time limit is 500 years. Remember, no matter what, once the 500 years are up, all of you must return here. Do you understand? Yes, we understand. We will remember masters, young masters, orders. We will definitely return here in 500 years. After saying that, everyone bowed and saluted. Then, without saying anything else, they turned around and hurriedly left the restaurant with the people that Lin Rei had assigned to them. Swoosh, swoosh. When they arrived at the door, they jumped up into the sky. After finding the right direction, they scattered in all directions. They were as fast as lightning and as fast as thunder. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the horizon. It was empty. The people who had been surrounding the restaurant had all left. Of course, there were still a few people who had not moved. Lin Xianyuan, Gu Feng, and the doppelganger Sakura had not left. Sigh. Looking at the birds, beasts and people leaving, Lin Rei could not help but sigh. Then, he retracted his gaze and looked at the 3 people. Sakura, you heard it. After 500 years you must break through to the sage realm. Therefore, during this period of time, you should hurry up and increase your cultivation. I know. I have the same intention. At this moment, Sakura stood up and said to Lin Rei, Go ahead. As for your sword and the flute, after 500 years, I will refine it for you and make it a real sage weapon. Don't worry. I know. Sakura, who was cold by nature, nodded his head coldly. Then, he did not say anything. He grabbed the wine gourd on the table and rushed out of the restaurant. He soared into the sky and disappeared. Phew. He let out a long breath and a smile appeared on his face. All right, let's all have a rest. Previously, we promised Feng Hun that we would wait for 3 days. Therefore we must not say a single word. Let's wait for him for 3 days. If he does not come after 3 days, we will set off for the Talisman Sect. Yes. Lin Xianyuan and Gu Feng nodded their heads and replied. Although they did not know what Lin Rei was going to do next, they knew that they could not disobey Lin Rei's orders. That was the right thing to do. Let's go. Let's go back to our rooms and rest. After saying that, he did not say anything else. He stood up and went to his room using the room number that Ming Ming had given him. He pushed open the door and entered his room. TSK, not bad. I did not expect that there would be such an elegant room in this restaurant. When he entered the room, he saw that the room was built with a rare sea-sinking wood. If the other rooms were the same, it was enough to tell that the owner of the restaurant was not an ordinary person. Although the sea-sinking wood was not very expensive, it would take a lot of effort to obtain it. Haha, interesting. He glanced at the surroundings and withdrew his gaze. He walked to the bed and sat down cross-legged. Then, he closed his eyes and entered into a state of selflessness. He circulated the chaotic heavenly scripture and entered into a state of cultivation. Time passed by slowly. Just like that, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye as he cultivated in a peaceful and quiet manner. Boom! Inside the City Lord's mansion, the people who were originally carrying out their duties suddenly felt a terrifying pressure that surrounded the entire City Lord's mansion. Under this sudden pressure, the people who were originally carrying out their duties directly knelt on the ground without any hindrance, without the slightest hesitation. Everyone's face was filled with shock and disbelief because the aura came from the depths of the City Lord's mansion, where their City Lord was. Could it be? Could it be that the City Lord has made a breakthrough? At this moment, an old O sensed the aura and his body trembled uncontrollably. His face was filled with excitement. The City Lord's breakthrough did not only represent him, but also the rise of the city's level. Currently, Vast Origin City was only a second-grade city. The city lord of a second-grade city was usually under the control of a divine emperor. There were not many cities under the control of a divine emperor. There were only 60 of them in the entire 9 prefectures. These 60 cities under the control of divine emperors were first-grade cities. They were very powerful and had over 10 times more resources than second-grade cities. This is great. The City Lord's breakthrough means that Vast Origin City is one step closer to becoming a first-grade city. In that case, thinking of this, the old O could not help but start praying. Of course, the content of his prayer was obvious. It was about Feng Hun's breakthrough. At that moment, in the depths of the City Lord's mansion, Feng Hun sat cross-legged on a praying mat in Feng Hun's place of isolation. He had already exited from his training, and his face was filled with excitement. His body trembled in excitement. Ha ha ha! Suddenly, Feng Hun raised his head and roared towards the sky. It was as if he had completely relaxed. His face was filled with an excited smile. I've broken through. I've broken through. Who would have thought that just a small medicinal pill would allow me to forcibly increase my cultivation by 2 minor levels from the middle stage divine monarch realm? In just 3 days, I've successfully broken through to the early stage god emperor realm. This, right now, although Feng Hun was excited, he knew that all of this had been bestowed upon him by Linli. If it hadn't been for Linli, breaking through to the emperor god level would have taken him thousands of years, if not tens of thousands of years. I must repay the kindness of others. Since you've allowed me to break through, then, this emperor shall serve you and serve you. After saying that, Feng Hun revealed a look of anticipation. He was looking forward to what level he would reach in the future. After letting out a long breath, a smile appeared on Feng Hun's face. Looking at the gradually brightening sky outside, a trace of determination appeared on his face. It's time to find Lin Rei. After saying that, Feng Hun retracted the pressure he released. He stood up, tidied up his clothes, pushed open the door and walked out. Since he was a guest from afar, he had to stay in Lin Rei's room. At this moment, Lin Rei had already woken up and stopped cultivating. It's been 3 days. In 3 days, will you fulfill my wish and come find me? Looking out the window, Lin Rei revealed a look of anticipation. Of course, he was also looking forward to it. Even if Feng Hun didn't come, Lin Rei wouldn't be too disappointed. After all, everyone had their own aspirations. Nothing could be forced. It's time to leave. Feng Hun stood up and moved his body that had been resting for 3 days. Suddenly, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. Instantly, the entire room was filled with a bone-chilling sound. With a twig sound, the door was pushed open by Lin Rei. Suddenly, a bright and beautiful ray of sunlight shone on Lin Rei's face. His originally melancholic heart felt much better after bathing in the sunlight. That's true. The sun is so beautiful. If I work from sunrise to sunset in a lazy manner, how comfortable would that be? Thinking about that, he couldn't help but shake his head with a bitter smile. Can't I just relax? It's only been a few days, and I'm already thinking about it. After saying that, he smiled bitterly and walked towards the restaurant in the front hall. Xiao Sanzi, Gu Feng, come out of seclusion. Come out and eat something. We'll prepare to leave. And yes, I understand. At this moment, Lin Xinyuan and Gu Feng, who were in their own rooms, heard the message. They immediately withdrew their cultivation and nodded. Arriving at the front hall, the restaurant was still the same as usual. There was an endless stream of people coming and going. Feng Hun scanned the place and locked onto an empty seat by the window. His speed wasn't very fast. When he arrived at the seat and sat down, his gaze landed on the pedestrians on the street outside the window. Looking at the hurried pedestrians passing by, Lin Rei couldn't help but become absent-minded. Lin Rei, who was in a daze, didn't notice at all that there was a delicately dressed man with a jade crown on his head. His skin was as white as snow, and his appearance belonged to the feminine type. He was especially feminine. Moreover, his body emitted waves of fragrance, just like a girl's. He held a folding fan in his hand and wore a white robe. Overall, there were only 3 words: gigolo. At this moment, the gigolo came to Lin Rei's seat. Seeing that Lin Rei was facing outside, he was absent-minded. He stretched out his hand and knocked on the table. Brother, I wonder if you can sit here? And Lin Rei, who was originally in a daze, suddenly woke up after hearing this voice. He immediately turned his head. The moment he saw the gigolo, Lin Rei's face revealed a trace of doubt. Do you have something to say? Hearing Lin Rei's words, the gigolo was speechless. He then said, Brother, I don't know if you can sit here. The other seats are all full. Can you share a table? Of course, if brother agrees, this one can pay the bill for you. Share a table? Seeing the gigolo saying so, Lin Rei revealed a trace of interest. Lin Rei was clear about the cultivation of this young man. A late-stage god-emperor cultivator was actually so amiable. Furthermore, he even requested to share a table. If it was someone else, he would have been chased out by now. But now, this young man didn't do so. Even though he didn't want to sit with others, Lin Rei felt a trace of interest towards him. His expression relaxed and he revealed a smile. He nodded and replied, Sure, you can sit. But I still have 2 friends, so in a while. It's fine. It's fine as long as there is a seat. Hearing Lin Rei's words, the young man paused for a moment before regaining his senses. This one is Su Ziqing. I am a roaming official. I hope you don't mind my rudeness. Suddenly, Su Ziqing cupped his fists. Su Ziqing. Hearing this name, Lin Rei felt slightly puzzled. He had never heard of this name before. But this person was a late-stage god-emperor. Even though he didn't think much of him, there was no need for him to offend him. After all, as the old saying went, one more friend means one more path. Thinking of this, he cupped his fists and replied, This one is Lin Rei. I am a roaming wanderer. Oh. Lin Rei, TSK. This name is not bad. Hearing Lin Rei's name, the person called Su Ziqing praised with a smile. Hee. Lin Rei wasn't interested in him. He was only interested in him. Hence, he didn't say much and just smiled. Teacher, young master. However, during the silence, Lin Xianyuan and Gu Feng, who were awakened, suddenly came over. They cupped their fists and greeted Lin Rei respectfully. Oh. You are here. Hurry up and sit. The 2 of them sat down. But when they saw Su Ziqing, they frowned and revealed a puzzled look. Hee, this is Su Ziqing. He is a roaming official. Don't worry, there is no space here. Hence, he came over to share a table. At this moment, Lin Rei understood the doubts of the 2 and hurriedly introduced. After saying that, he pointed to Lin Xianyuan and introduced him to Su Ziqing. This is my disciple, Lin Xianyuan. This is Gu Feng. He is, my subordinate. Greetings to the 2 of you. Judging from your aura, you should be cultivators. And your cultivation isn't low. SK, you are really young and promising. At this moment, Su Ziqing spoke. However, when he heard Lin Rei's introduction, Su Ziqing looked at Lin Rei curiously. After the 2 of them arrived, although he couldn't really sense their cultivation, he was sure of one thing. Lin Xianyuan was definitely stronger than him. There was no other reason. Before he arrived, there was a trace of strong cultivation circulating in his body. Although it was only for an instant, Su Ziqing could clearly feel it. Chapter 847. Lin Xianyuan and Lin Xianyuan didn't respond to Su Ziqing's words. After all, they were very clear about Su Ziqing's cultivation. A late-stage god-emperor. A young man like him could reach such a level. It was obvious that he had a powerful background. Of course, the most important thing was that Lin Rei had spoken. They didn't dare to say anything. For a moment, the 4 of them didn't say anything. The place was quiet. There was a slight awkwardness in the silence. Little 3, go order something to eat. Once we're done, we can leave this place. At this moment, Lin Li opened his mouth and broke the silence. Yes, master. Lin Xianyuan suddenly stood up and walked towards the front desk. Looking at him, Lin Li revealed a trace of a smile. Not long after, Lin Xianyuan returned with a jug of wine in his hands. He placed it in front of Lin Li and said with a smile, Master, this is the private stash of the restaurant's owner. I heard that it's a rare wine. Have a taste. If it tastes good, I'll go get more for you. Lin Rei's eyes lit up. He focused on the jar of wine. Wine was very important to him. Yes, I heard it's made from clear spirit fruit and 100-berry fruit. Seeing the smile on his master's face, Lin Shenyuan hurriedly poured a bowl for Linli and stood beside him, intending to serve him. Let me do it. Suddenly, Gu Feng stood up and took the jar of wine from Lin Rei's hand. He didn't say anything. He stood behind Lin Rei and waited for a refill. Lin Shenyuan was stunned by Gu Feng's behavior. However, he recovered quickly and sat down. He didn't say anything and waited quietly for the dishes to be served. Gulp, gulp. Suddenly, there was a sound of drinking. Lin Shenyuan and Su Ziqing looked in the direction of the sound. At this moment, Linli raised his head and downed the entire bowl in one gulp. He then placed the bowl back onto the table. As for Linli, he stood there in a daze. His eyes were tightly shut and his breathing was normal. However, he had a look of enjoyment on his face. Seeing Lin Rei like that, Lin Shenyuan knew that his master liked this wine very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't be like that. Moreover, he had tasted it before he came. Otherwise, he wouldn't have served it. Yes, it's fruity. It's refreshing, sweet, and gentle. After drinking it, the taste of fruit lingers in the mouth. It's rare that this wine can be brewed to such an extent. Xueqi, the owner of this restaurant, is not simple. To be able to make such a good wine with just clear spirit fruit and 100-berry fruit. After pausing for a while, Linli began to evaluate himself. His face was filled with bliss, as though he deeply loved this wine. Master, I'll go and buy some more. After all, I don't come here often. Lin Shenyuan hurriedly said when he heard his master's evaluation. Tisk, go and ask the owner. I want to stay here for a long time. Discuss with him. In the future, we'll buy the ingredients and we'll pay for all the brewing costs. We'll also pay for the brewing costs. Yes. Lin Shenyuan smiled when he heard his master's words. Then, he stood up and left. At that moment, the originally empty bowl was filled with Gu Feng. Gu Feng was very pleased with this. Gulp, gulp. At this moment, Linli couldn't stop. Although this wine wasn't the best, the aroma of this wine was something he liked very much. Have you heard? I heard that the Talisman Sect will be recruiting disciples soon. Hurry up and get the two of you to sign up. What? The Talisman Sect is recruiting disciples? When did this happen? Why haven't I heard about it? Tisk, how can I let you know about everything? Let me tell you. The news about the Talisman Sect recruiting disciples is from my brother's eldest cousin's son's friend. He's in the Talisman Sect, so this news is very accurate. Moreover, I heard that it's a big event this time. It's the first time in history. Damn, is that true? If that's the case, I must bring my son to the Talisman Sect. If he can really enter the Talisman Sect, then his future will be limitless. Just as Linli was tasting the fine wine, the topic of conversation reached Linli's ears. Instantly, Linli, who had been drinking, stopped, and a look of interest appeared on his face. The Talisman Sect is recruiting new disciples? Lin Rei was very interested in the Talisman Sect's recruitment. After all, his mission target was the Talisman Sect. Initially, he was worried about how to complete his mission. However, Lin Rei felt that the time had come. Brother Lin, could it be that you want to go to the Talisman Sect? At this moment, Su Ziqing asked curiously. He had never been able to see through Linli's cultivation level, but at least he knew that Lin Shenyuan and Lin Shenyuan were definitely not simple. However, Su Ziqing was extremely puzzled when he heard that the Talisman Sect was recruiting new disciples. He did not understand Lin Rei's intentions. That's right. Lin Rei naturally could not tell the truth to Su Ziqing's question. The Talisman Sect. Originally, I wanted to leave and continue to travel and chat about life. However, I did not expect that the Talisman Sect would be recruiting new disciples. Therefore, I want to give it a try. Hearing Linli's words, Gu Feng, who was standing behind him, was startled. A stunned expression appeared on his face. Others might not know about Lin Rei, but he knew very well that Lin Rei's cultivation was unfathomable. Not to mention the 9th province, there was probably no one in the entire divine realm who could defeat Lin Rei. However, Lin Rei said that he wanted to take part in the Talisman Sect's recruitment test. How could he not be stunned? Of course, This shock only lasted for an instant. Apart from Lin Rei, no one else noticed it. Oh. Brother Lin wants to take part in the Talisman Sect's recruitment test. Gu Feng looked at Lin Rei in disbelief. That's right. Lin Rei nodded without denying it. After all disciples from poor families hope to have the protection of a powerful sect with low cultivation. I am no exception. In order to convince Su Ziqing, Lin Rei suppressed his cultivation to the true god realm. Given Lin Rei's cultivation, Chu Fei must be a sage who was much stronger than him. Otherwise, no one would be able to discover his true cultivation. Of course, there was another reason. Lin Rei wanted Chu Fei to know. Otherwise, true god. As expected, when Su Ziqing sensed the ripples emanating from Linli's body, he immediately understood Linli's cultivation level. However, what surprised Su Ziqing was that a deity actually had such powerful subordinates by his side. Although he didn't know what Lin Xuanyuan's cultivation level was, he knew very well that he was no match for him. Su Ziqing did not believe that Lin Rei did not have any extraordinary abilities since he was able to make a cultivator who was much stronger than him willingly become his disciple. It was also because of this that Su Ziqing became more and more curious about Lin Rei. So much so that he made a huge decision in his heart. As he thought about this, a kind smile appeared on his face. He looked at Lin Rei and said, "Since Brother Lin has decided, why don't you travel with me? It just so happens that I also have plans to go to the Talisman Sect. I wonder if..." "What? You?" Lin Rei raised his eyebrows as he looked at Su Ziqing. He looked at him cautiously. Lin Rei did not have a good impression of Su Ziqing. However, if this person wanted to go to the Talisman Sect with him, the outcome would be different. "Why? Brother Lin is not willing?" When he saw Lin Rei's cautious expression and saw Lin Rei's expression, Su Ziqing's body trembled. An unknown panic instantly filled his entire body. What's going on? Why do I have such a feeling? Su Ziqing could not help but mumble to himself as he avoided Lin Rei's gaze. Nothing. I am just afraid of delaying young Master Su's matters. Of course, if young Master Su does not mind then. Alright, it's decided then. Hurry up and eat. We will leave soon. Before Lin Rei could finish speaking, Su Ziqing spoke first and decided for Lin Rei. Lin Rei was stunned by this and smiled bitterly. Just like this, they seemed to have more to talk about now that they had a common goal. Su Ziqing seemed to have turned into a chatterbox as he continued to nag Lin Rei. In order to not expose himself, Lin Rei could only listen with a smile on his face. At this moment, Lin Rei really wished that he could unleash his cultivation and give this person a big slap. He wanted to say to him, "Stop talking and stay here. If you continue talking, I will kill you." Of course, this was only a thought in his heart. His face was still full of smiles and he appeared as easygoing as a spring breeze. Seeing this, Gu Feng, who was standing behind him, felt that it was funny. Lin Rei's current appearance was the most sullen and funny he had ever seen since he started following him. However, while Su Ziqing was chatting one-sidedly, Lin Rei returned and all the dishes he had ordered were served. In response, Lin Rei could only eat in silence and block Su Ziqing's words. Of course, he would still turn his head and respond from time to time. However, Lin Rei's current helplessness was the same as the helplessness of Liaoyuan City's city lord Feng Han. He had sent people to search for Lin Rei for some time, but there was no news of him. He had thought of using his cultivation. However, there might be a few powerful cultivators in Liaoyuan City. If he did not want to live, he would definitely not use his divine sense to search. Ever since Feng Han had made a breakthrough, he had sent out all the elites of the City Lord Mansion to search the entire Liaoyuan City for Lin Rei so that he could follow him. However, time passed for a long time. Slowly, the hope in Feng Han's heart faded bit by bit. The flame of hope was slowly extinguished. It seems. Emperor still does not have such an opportunity. Reporting to City Lord. This subordinate has discovered the person you are looking for. He is currently eating as a guest. What? Hearing this report, Feng Han, who had lost all hope, suddenly stood up. He circulated his cultivation and his body shot out like an arrow, disappearing in the blink of an eye. As for the guard who had made the report, Feng Han didn't have the mind to pay attention to him. Right now, all he wanted to do was find Linli and have him tell him that he was willing to take Linli as his master and obey his orders. Nevertheless, on the way to where Lin Rei was praying in his heart. He prayed that Lin Rei would not leave and that he would not miss this opportunity. At this moment, Feng Hun used his full strength. An early-stage God-Emperor cultivator using his full strength could be felt by all the powerful cultivators in the city. Amen. At this moment, several people who had been in secluded meditation in the East District, West District, South District, North District, and Central District suddenly opened their eyes. A bright light flashed in their eyes, but it was gone in the blink of an eye. They looked toward Feng Hun, and their hearts trembled. This aura seems to belong to the city lord of vast origin city, Feng Hun. Thinking of this, they had a strange expression. That's not right. Previously when I saw him, he was still a middle-stage god monarch. How long has it been since then? Feng Hun. Who would have thought that he would break through to the god-emperor realm in such a short period of time? Did he encounter a huge opportunity? Feng Hun, not bad. Who would have thought that he would break through to such a level in such a short period of time? At this moment, this thought appeared in the minds of several cultivators in the city. Nevertheless, they were merely startled. After all, everyone had their own opportunities and could not be forced. However, at this moment, Lin Rei, who was eating among the guests, stopped eating the moment he felt this aura. He placed down the chopsticks in his hand and looked towards the distance. There was a faint smile on his face that gave others a mysterious feeling. Is he finally here? I thought that if he didn't come, he wouldn't have subdued him. How could Lin Rei not be familiar with this aura? After all, they had just separated not long ago. Go and tell Feng Hun to wait outside. Also, tell him to suppress his cultivation. I feel that this Su Ziqing is not simple. During this period of time, try not to expose your cultivation as much as possible. Yes, understood, young master. Hearing the voice transmission, Gu Feng's head nodded imperceptibly. Then, he quietly retreated and went to meet up with Feng Hun according to Lin Rei's instructions. Time flew by and the meal was finished in silence. Burp. A thunderous burp came from Lin Rei's mouth. With this burp, Lin Rei slumped into his chair, completely unaffected by the presence of an expert. His previous elegance and nobility had all disappeared at this moment. The only thing that could be seen was a person who had eaten his fill and was lying leisurely and comfortably on the chair. Young Master Lin, do you want to leave now or, Hearing Su Ziqing's question, Lin Rei raised his head lazily, opened his eyes, looked at Su Ziqing, nodded and said, let's go. It's time to leave. Having said that, he got up and walked out of the restaurant. Seeing Lin Rei's action, Su Ziqing immediately got up and followed closely behind. At this moment, outside the door, Gu Feng, Lin Rei, and Feng Hun, the city lord of vast origin city, were standing together. When they saw Lin Rei come out, they bowed and greeted Master, young master. Haha, good. If you hadn't come, I'm afraid that I would have really left. Having said that, he smiled at Feng Hun and said, remember what Gu Feng told you. You are now just a divine guard. As for your identity, you can decide for yourself. Yes, young master. This subordinate understands. Chapter 848. Su Ziqing nodded and did not say anything else. However, right at this moment, Su Ziqing walked out of the restaurant. When he saw the extra person beside Gu Feng and Lin Shenyuan, he was momentarily stunned. Isn't that the city lord of vast origin city, Feng Hun? Although he did not know Feng Hun very well, he had seen him before. After all, if he had not seen the city lord of the city before, then it would be too, however. What puzzled him was that Feng Hun was standing there like Gu Feng and bowing his head like a servant. Even so, Su Ziqing could still see that Feng Hun's expression was filled with respect. What's going on? Why would a divine sovereign be so respectful to Lin Rei, who is only a true god? Moreover, Gu Feng and Lin Shenyuan are also acting the same way. As he thought about this, Su Ziqing looked at Lin Rei with a complicated gaze. There were many mysteries surrounding Lin Rei that puzzled him and made him want to find out more about him. Brother Su, is there something on my face? Seeing Su Ziqing's gaze, the corners of Lin Rei's mouth unconsciously curled as he spoke. No. Su Ziqing cried out in alarm. Then, he hurriedly shook his head and said, I'm truly sorry. I was lost in my thoughts just now. As he spoke, both sides of his originally white cheeks turned red. Seeing Su Ziqing's current appearance, Lin Rei was momentarily stunned as he stood there in a daze. F***CK, it can't be, right? Your daddy here actually has feelings for this man? At this moment, Lin Rei could not believe his eyes. There were countless beauties in the world. Lin Rei had seen many of them. Fairies and goddesses were innumerable. However, at this moment, it was for a man. As he thought about this, he quivered and shook his head violently. He began to circulate the chaotic heavenly scripture in an attempt to get rid of this feeling. Phew! He exhaled deeply and opened his eyes. Then, he shifted his gaze away from Su Ziqing's face. Brother Su, this humble one is not familiar with this place. Is there a way to reach the Talisman Grandmaster? Young Master, at this moment when Feng Han heard this, he instinctively stood up and was about to say something. But, just as he opened his mouth, a hand reached out from behind him and stopped him. Don't say anything about this. Young Master can't reveal his identity right now, so everything can only be done with Young Master's permission, understand? Feng Han turned his head and looked at Gu Feng, who was holding him. For a moment, Feng Han was shocked. He hurriedly nodded his head, and his expression was filled with gratitude. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you, however, Gu Feng and Feng Han's actions had already entered Su Ziqing's eyes. Seeing how strange their actions were, Su Ziqing began to ponder. Then he said, Brother Lin, this servant of yours seems to know. Why don't we let him speak first? If what he says is wrong, then we'll talk about mine. Looking at Su Ziqing, Lin Rei sighed inwardly. Looks like he's starting to suspect my identity. That was what he thought. As the saying goes, one's words do not match one's heart. What one thinks is not what one thinks. That's good too. As he spoke, he looked at Feng Han and raised his eyebrows. Then he asked, since you already know, then continue. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Hearing this, Feng Han could not help but turn around and look at Gu Feng. However, at this moment, Gu Feng nodded his head slightly, indicating to Feng Han. When Feng Han saw Gu Feng's reaction, he understood and immediately spoke of his thoughts. Yes, young master. As he spoke, Feng Han bowed and continuously spoke of his thoughts. Young master, there are teleportation portals between the cities. If we use the teleportation portals, it will only take half a month to reach the Talisman Grandmaster from here. However, if we rely on manpower to fly, then the time will greatly increase. Half a year. Or even a year is possible. That's a good idea. It happens to coincide with my thoughts. Su Ziqing, who had been listening to Feng Han's thoughts the entire time, was pleasantly surprised when he heard this idea. Oh, is that so? Seeing Su Ziqing's reaction, Lin Rei played along and said, in that case, since both of us have the same opinion, then let's use the teleportation portals. After all, time is limited. The earlier we arrive, the earlier we can feel at ease, right? Brother Lin is right. In that case, let's go. Su Ziqing said, let's go. As he spoke, he asked Feng Han to lead the way to the teleportation portals. Vast Origin City was Feng Han's territory. No one dared to guarantee that there would be someone more familiar with it than him. The group flew all the way to the center of the city. The teleportation portals were built in the center of the city, and were guarded by the guards of the city lord's mansion. As long as one had high-grade or supreme-grade divine crystals, one could use the space stones to activate the teleportation portals after paying. Of course, if one did not have high-grade or supreme-grade divine crystals, one could also use mid-grade or low-grade divine crystals. However, there would be more divine crystals this way. After all, the difference in quality of divine crystals was very large and the impurities in them were also very large. On the way, the group flew very slowly. After all, Lin Rei was currently flying with the cultivation of a true god. If he flew too fast, it would cause Su Ziqing to feel strange. However, during the process of flying, Lin Rei was not thinking about how to get Su Ziqing away from him. That way, he could display his cultivation without any restraint. If he flew at full speed, he would be able to reach the teleportation portals in the center of the city in an instant. Why would he hesitate? With a sigh, the group flew all the way. Finally, after an hour, Lin Ray and the others arrived at the open space in front of the teleportation portals. City, however, the moment Lin Ray and the others landed in front of the teleportation portals, the guards guarding the teleportation portals subconsciously bowed when they saw Feng Hun. Don't do what you have to do. Just pretend that I don't exist. Remember, do not expose my identity here. Do you understand? Feng Hun, who knew that this would be the result, sent a voice transmission to all the guards guarding the mansion the moment he landed. We will obey your orders. They had no choice. The guards who had already bowed felt very awkward at this moment. However, in order to complete their mission, the guards who bowed raised their hands and made a stretching gesture. Then, they naturally returned to their original state. Haha, how pretentious. Su Ziqing, who knew what was going on, was speechless. However, she did not point it out. Instead, she looked at Lin Ray and the others with a blank expression. This is the expression of the few of us when we pass through the teleportation portals. Keep it well. At this moment, Feng Hun recovered. He took out a space storage ring and handed it to the guard. This. Looking at the storage ring in front of him, the guard did not know whether to take it or not. At this moment, the guard had mixed feelings. He scratched his ears and cheeks and even had the thought of dying. However, he could not let the city lord wait for too long. Just as the guard was in a dilemma, he finally came up with an idea. When he came to his senses, he did not take it. Instead, he said to Feng Hun, "My friend, the city lord is in a good mood today. Therefore, all the cultivators who enter the teleportation portals at this hour are exempted. So, you'd better take back the storage ring." Feng Hun was taken aback by the guard's words. Of course, not only Feng Hun, but also Lin Ray, Gu Feng, Lin Shenyuan, and even Su Ziqing could not help but be taken aback. Strange expressions appeared on their faces. However, after thinking about it, they understood. After all, the person standing in front of him was his immediate superior. Open the teleportation portals and let them pass. At this moment, the guard's face lit up and he shouted behind him. Understood. At this moment, standing in front of a teleportation portal, the person who received the order nodded. Then, he took out a blue stone from his storage ring. After taking 5 steps forward, he mounted the stone in his hand into the groove that he had taken out a few years ago. Boom! Swish! With a loud rumble, a blue beam of light instantly rushed out of vast origin city and toward a higher level. Hurry up and go in. Every time the portal is activated, the space stone will not last for a long time. At this moment, the person in charge looked at Lin Ray and the others and urged them. Let's go. Linley, who understood the reason behind this, nodded to the person holding the teleportation array. He took a step forward and appeared in the teleportation array. Lin Shenyuan and the others immediately followed closely behind Linley, not leaving him by even an inch. Swish! At this moment, the blue beam of light that seemed to pierce through the sky began to disappear the moment Lin Ray and the others stepped into the teleportation portal. It came and went quickly. The entire process took less than half a minute. When the blue light disappeared, Linley and the others, who had stepped into the array formation, disappeared along with the blue light. In the southern part of the 9th province, Mystic Essence Mountain, where the gods of the Talisman Grandmaster resided. At this moment, the originally quiet and desolate Mystic Essence Mountain was bustling with noise and excitement. On a mountain road, the flowers and trees on both sides were very novel. In particular, there were some rare flowers and herbs that could not be seen normally on both sides of the road. However, at this moment, the road at the foot of the mountain was crowded with people. Everyone's face was filled with anxiety as they walked up the mountain. They ignored the beautiful scenery on both sides of the road. The number of disciples recruited by the Talisman Grandmaster this time is the highest in previous years. I don't know why, but it's really strange. Tisk, isn't it good to recruit more disciples? This way, our children might even be able to enter this sacred cultivation ground. In this way, isn't it just around the corner to bring glory to our ancestors and revitalize our family? Yeah. The number of disciples recruited by the Talisman Grandmaster this time is really shocking. In the past, I only thought about it in my dreams. I didn't expect it to really happen now. Tisk, look at all of you. You don't even know if you can become a disciple of the Talisman Grandmaster, yet you're already dreaming? At this moment, a group of people were discussing. Their discussion was naturally very clear. The recruitment of disciples by the Talisman Grandmaster was a major event in the entire 9th province. After those who came from the south and those who came from the north received this news, all of them stopped what they were doing and rushed over with their children day and night. Haha, there are quite a lot of people. I didn't expect the Talisman Grandmaster to be so popular. At this moment, at the foot of the mountain, a young man in plain white clothes frowned slightly. He was speechless as he looked at the crowded mountain road. Yeah, the Talisman Grandmaster is one of the 7 sects after all. Moreover, the Tao of Talismans is indeed something that can't be seen. If one can refine the Tao of Talismans to the mastery level, I'm afraid that even top cultivators will suffer a setback. At this moment, a fair-faced pretty boy with a folding fan sighed when he heard the young man's words. Ha! Brother Su, since we've already arrived at the Talisman Grandmaster, should we? That's right, these 2 people were Lin Rei, Su Ziqing and the others who had rushed over from vast Origin City. However, Gu Feng, Lin Shenyuan and Feng Hun did not follow them. When the group arrived at Mystic Origin Mountain, Lin Rei had asked them to find a place to cultivate in the surroundings. Brother Lin, are you trying to chase us away? Su Ziqing looked at Lin Rei with an aggrieved expression. Although it had only been a short dozen days since they had arrived here from vast Origin City, and during these dozen days, they had been using the transportation formation and basically did not speak much. However, Su Ziqing was very certain that Lin Rei was not a simple person. His original plan was to follow Lin Rei and observe his plans. Now that they were here, how could Su Ziqing be separated from him? F***CK. Seeing Su Ziqing's shamelessness, Lin Rei was stunned and a helpless expression appeared on his face. Even Lin Rei could not do anything about this. He felt completely helpless when it came to Su Ziqing. Especially when Su Ziqing spoke in such a tone, Lin Rei could not resist at all, and his heart softened. Hey, brother, are you going or not? Even if you're not going, don't block the way, okay? It's extremely shameful to occupy a latrine but not take a shit, okay? Suddenly, while Lin Rei was at a loss for what to do, an extremely discordant voice sounded from beside him. Turning his head, he saw a young man standing on the spot and looking at them with a sloppy expression. You, what? Are you captivated by this brother's handsome appearance? How about it? Do you want an autograph? You should know that this brother will be a very powerful talisman master in the future. Hearing the young man's words, Lin Rei frowned. Originally, he felt helpless because of Su Ziqing, but now that this hothead had appeared, it gave Lin Rei a good opportunity to vent his anger. Looking at him, Lin Rei laughed and nodded. Okay, I also want to ask you something. As he spoke, he looked around and said awkwardly, Look, there are too many people here. Why don't we go to the side? You're not going to give me a beating, are you? At this moment, the young man suddenly became serious. Lin Rei was stunned, and then Lin Rei was completely speechless. The young man's serious expression disappeared in the next moment. Ha, I'm just kidding. I'm a future talisman master. How could I be beaten by you? As he spoke, he hooked his arm around Lin Rei's shoulder and said with a big face, Come, let's go to the side and let this brother give you an autograph. Chapter 849. All right. Lin Rei didn't say anything else and didn't give the young man a chance. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself and would release his cultivation to kill this narcissistic kid. You stay here. I'll be back soon. He turned around and said to Su Ziqing calmly. Oh, I got it. However, before Lin Li could regain his composure, and before Su Ziqing could respond, the young man beside him tightened his grip on Lin Li's neck and pulled him towards the nearby forest. The young man used his cultivation to clear the way for Lin Rei. Finally, the two of them arrived at a quiet and deserted forest. The trees towered into the heavens and were extremely large. They blocked out the sun, but they were extremely bright. In addition, what caused Lin Li's body to tremble was the fact that these trees emanated a fragrance that caused Lin Li to feel relaxed and happy. What tree is this? Lin Rei asked subconsciously. He had never seen such a book before. This. The young man was surprised when he saw Lin Rei looking at the trees in front of him. Then he smiled and said, Big brother, it can't be. Isn't this a spirit origin tree? Spirit origin tree? Lin Rei was confused when he heard the young man's introduction. He didn't know much about this tree. However, he liked the fragrance it emitted. Lin Rei liked it very much. As he thought about it, a long sword appeared in his hand. The young man's eyes were wide open and his expression was full of shock. He waved his long sword and chopped at the tree in front of him. Bang! Suddenly, the long sword was very sharp. It slashed through the tree without any hesitation. The tree fell to the ground. Rumble! However, perhaps because the tree was huge, it was more than 10 meters long and needed 3 people to wrap their arms around it. It fell to the ground with a loud bang, causing the ground to tremble. Seeing this, the young man was even more shocked. He didn't expect the person in front of him to be so fierce. He chopped at the tree without any warning. It's over. However, right at this moment, a bad thought suddenly appeared in his mind. What's wrong? Seeing the young man's expression change, Lin Rei was stunned and asked subconsciously. The soul origin trees are planted by the disciples of the Talisman Sect. Without the permission of the Talisman Sect's elders, no one is allowed to casually cut them down. Moreover, I heard that this soul origin tree is meant to be planted by the Talisman Grandmaster to build the Primal Chaos Pavilion. Now that you've cut down one of them, then... The young man's expression changed drastically as he thought of this. However, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he grabbed Lin Rei and tried to leave. No, we must leave this place quickly. If we are discovered by the members of the Talisman Sect, forget about joining the Talisman Sect. We will be lucky if we are not hunted down. The young man was afraid that Lin Rei would not leave, so he reached out and grabbed Lin Rei, wanting to drag him away. Unfortunately, he had underestimated Lin Rei's determination. Everyone who knew Lin Rei should know that as long as he, Lin Rei, set his mind on something, even if the Heavenly Emperor came, he wouldn't be able to change his mind. Even if the Heavenly Emperor came, he wouldn't be able to change his mind. Wait a moment. Let me take the loot first. After saying that, he used a little strength to break free from the young man's grip and walk towards the soul origin tree that was cut down. Damn. Are you crazy? Although the young man was shocked that Lin Rei had broken free from his grip, he was even more shocked when he saw Lin Rei walking towards the soul origin tree. The soul origin tree. That's right. This thing should have the effect of nourishing the soul and clearing the heart. If I use this thing to make a Dharma treasure, then... Looking at the soul origin tree, a plan started to form in his mind. If the young man knew about Lin Rei's actions, he would probably curse out loud. His mental strength instantly rushed out and wrapped around the soul origin tree. Then, he dragged it into his storage ring. After doing all this, a faint smile appeared on his face. Then, he turned around and walked towards the young man with an innocent look on his face. Damn. Beast. Lunatic. Seeing Linley walk over, the young man couldn't help but feel a bit more admiration for Linley. After doing such a thing, his state of mind was still so calm, without the slightest ripple. It was like the surface of a lake. Even if a fish swam past, it wouldn't cause the slightest ripple. Damn. Are you waiting for me? Regaining his composure from his admiration, he saw that Linley was nowhere to be seen. The youth's heart clenched, and he turned his head to scan his surroundings. In front of him, Linley was still there. It wasn't hard to see him. Hurry up. Otherwise, we won't be able to catch up. Without turning his head, Lin Rei said indifferently. Alas! Seeing how relaxed Linley was and how he wasn't disturbed by what had just happened, the young man sighed and turned around to chase after Linley. Hey, let me introduce myself again. I'm Lu Yuanqi from Tianfeng City. What about you? Lin Rei from... Without turning his head, he slowly said to Lu Yuanqi, from Luoyuan City. Although Lin Rei didn't spend much time with Lu Yuanqi, he deeply understood Lu Yuanqi's characteristics. He was talkative, and only knew one thing. His mouth was constantly chattering like a fly. Moreover, Lin Rei knew that if he didn't tell Lu Yuanqi his name, his ears wouldn't be free for a period of time. Damn! Lin Rei. This name is... Tisk Tsk. Looking at Linley, Lu Yuanqi followed behind Linley, a look of curiosity on his face. He constantly asked Linley if there was anything fun or interesting to do in vast Origin City. Was there anything interesting? In an instant, the nameless fire in Lin Rei's heart burned to his throat. If it wasn't for the fact that he was afraid of exposing his identity, Lin Rei would have already made him shut up. Of course, he wouldn't kill him. Instead, he would use a technique to subdue him and make him unable to speak for a short period of time. Just like that, Lu Yuanqi continued to ask questions. In the beginning, Lin Rei would respond with a sentence or two. However, as time went on, Lin Rei realized that Lu Yuanqi had the habit of asking for a yard after getting an inch. In the end, Lin Rei decided to just shut up. Then, he sealed off his hearing. Instantly, his ears became much quieter. At this moment, the two of them returned to the crowd. However, what gave Lin Rei a headache was that Xueqi didn't leave. Furthermore, it seemed like she hadn't taken a single step away. She was still in the same place as when he left. It seems that I won't be able to shake her off. Lin Rei shook his head helplessly. Then he quickly walked to her side and said with a smile, "Let's go." Good. She nodded and didn't say anything. Then, she quietly followed Lin Rei. Who is so bold as to cut down the soul origin tree? However, not long after Lin Rei left, the three of them landed at the place where Lin Rei had cut down the soul origin tree. When they saw that the soul origin tree planted by the sect had been cut down and taken away, their faces were filled with anger. A murderous aura burst out of their bodies, as if it wanted to tear everything apart. Senior brother, please don't get angry. You've just made a breakthrough and haven't consolidated it yet. This will affect your cultivation. That's right. Senior brother. We can't interfere in this matter. In my opinion, we should directly report this matter to the higher-ups. This is not a joke. You know, the soul origin tree was used to build the soul origin pavilion. Now that one is missing. It's a sin. Hiss. With that, the young man seemed to have thought of something terrible. His face suddenly turned pale, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Alas! Fine. How could he not know the importance of the soul origin tree? However, in the end, the three of them agreed to the previous proposal. Then, their figures flashed and disappeared. Naturally, Linley, who was currently climbing up the tree, didn't know what was happening in the forest. What he didn't know was that because of his whims, the construction of Primordial Chaos Pavilion, which had been waiting for 10,000 years, was once again delayed. Of course, the Seal Sect had sent out elites to search for this matter. After all, the construction of the Hunyuan Pavilion was very important. Now that it had been delayed, who wouldn't be angry if such a thing happened to them? At this moment, Lin Rei and the other two were slowly walking halfway up the mountain. Their faces were full of fatigue as they looked left and right. At this time, Lu Yuanqi, who was following behind Lin Rei, shouted with an unhappy look on his face. "I'm not going. How long will it take? Isn't it just a mountain gate? Why do you have to mobilize so many people? Can't you just fly up?" F***CK. Who is this? Why is he so fierce? Yes, indeed. He's sitting on the ground and making a scene. I'm afraid this man is a fool. Yes, indeed. Hee, who is this man? I wonder how his elders taught him. At this moment, Lu Yuanqi's voice was so loud that everyone who passed by heard him. They pointed at Lin Rei and the other two openly. F***CK. Looking at the gazes of the people around him, Lin Rei was stunned. He then turned to look at Lu Yuanqi, who was sitting on the ground. At this moment, Lin Rei was furious. The veins on his head bulged and he looked like he was going to beat someone up. F***CKU, can you do it? Look at where you are. This is the Seal Sect. This is the F***King Seal Sect. Do you think this is your Kong bed? Of course, even if it is your Kong bed, don't you have to take off your shoes to get on it? Lin Rei's explosive words stunned everyone around him. Even Xueqi was stunned. Ever since she knew Lin Rei had always given her an unfathomable feeling. But now what about you? Do you think I don't want to fly there? Do you think everyone is stupid? Isn't it because the Seal Sect has set up a talisman that prohibits flying? As he spoke, he was afraid that Lu Yuanqi would not believe him. With a thought, a short sword appeared in Lin Rei's hand. Lin Rei had obtained this sword when he had just started cultivating. To the current Lin Rei, it was extremely weak. Seeing Lin Rei's actions, everyone was stunned. Then, they looked at the young man sitting on the ground sympathetically. At this moment, everyone thought that Lin Rei was going to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. However, the next moment, everyone was stunned. Lin Rei looked at the sky and squinted his eyes. Then, he exerted force in his arm and threw the short sword in his hand into the air. Whoosh! His speed was very fast. The people watching Linley watched as the flying dagger left Linley's hand flew 15 meters into the air. With a bang sound, the dagger instantly shattered and transformed into nothingness. Hiss! Everyone who saw this scene couldn't help but be shocked, sucking in a breath of cold air. This. At this moment, Lu Yuanqi, who was sitting on the ground and watching this scene, had goosebumps all over his body. His whole body felt cold, as if it was not the dagger that had turned into nothingness, but him. Seeing Lu Yuanqi's expression, Lin Rei smiled and said, "Why? Do you still want to fly now? Of course, I won't stop you this time. On the contrary, I will help you." As he spoke, he extended his hand and walked forward with a strange smile on his face. Seeing Lin Rei like this, the surrounding people felt a chill and could not help but take a step back. Haha. Seeing Lu Yuanqi walking towards him with a strange smile on his face, he was startled and his face turned pale. He then smiled, stood up and ran up the mountain. As he ran, he couldn't stop begging for mercy. I was wrong, okay? Why are you so stingy, really?" As time passed, his voice gradually disappeared from Lin Rei's ears. In response, Lin Rei smiled and looked relaxed. Damn, I can finally relax now. As he thought of this, he signaled to Su Ziqing and walked up the mountain. However, Lin Rei did not know that his action had not only alerted the people present, but also some old guys in the Talisman Sect. At this moment, 10,000 meters above the mountain road, there were 4 white-haired middle-aged men whose faces hadn't aged at all. Their gazes were locked onto Linley, who was walking down the mountain road. Looking at him, they looked at him with admiration. "TSK, not bad, not bad. I didn't expect this little guy to be able to discover the rune prohibition in the sky. Yes, this little guy seems to have a certain foundation in rune prohibition. Moreover, this time, the sect did not tell them about the rune prohibition in the sky." Hiss! As soon as these words were spoken, the 4 of them looked at each other and the admiration in their eyes became even more intense. This is incredible. It seems like this little guy. Don't fight with me. This little guy is mine. At this moment, one of the people dressed in black said. His voice was filled with determination and his expression was filled with excitement. He looked at the people around him cautiously. Why? This old man wants this little fellow. You all know that apart from my own granddaughter, I basically don't have anyone close to me. Now that one has finally appeared, I don't think you all will snatch it from this old man, right? Damn this bastard. He's even trying to kidnap our feelings. The other 3 elders looked at the old man dressed in red and felt disdain in their hearts. However, they maintained a smile on their faces. That's right. Old man Long. You also said that you only have your granddaughter, but you didn't say how many disciples you have. More than a dozen personal disciples. With so many personal disciples, it doesn't matter if you have one more or one less. So, humph bastard. Chapter 850. Take me in as a disciple? At that moment, 10,000 meters up in the sky, they were arguing about their disciple. However, they did not know that Lin Rei had heard their conversation very clearly. His gaze swept in the direction of the 4 old men in the sky. Linley's expression was strange, and a hint of disdain flashed through his eyes. For Grandmaster Talisman Masters want to take me in as a disciple. Humph, I can't believe you guys can think of that. Lin Rei could clearly guess who the 4 old men were based on their auras. They were either alchemists, weapon masters or rune masters from the Talisman Grandmaster from the Talisman Grandmaster Talisman Grandmaster. However, the 4 of them were all ultimate gods. Although they were all mid-stage ultimate gods, it was easy to deduce where they came from based on their conversation. They were either the supreme elders of the Talisman Grandmaster. There was nothing else. However, Lin Rei did not agree with their thoughts. Moreover, Lin Rei believed that a Grandmaster Talisman Grandmaster would not be able to become the master of an honorable Talisman Grandmaster. That would be courting death. More importantly, the four of them would not go to Lin Rei no matter what. Therefore, Lin Rei treated the four old men as clowns at most. Tisk. Lin Rei ignored them and continued to move forward. They had already covered more than half of the journey. Lin Rei maintained a refined smile on his face. As for Su Ziqing, he was the type of person who would not shed tears until he saw the coffin and would not act until he saw the hair. He had to find out Lin Rei's secret, otherwise. A day passed in the blink of an eye. The sky was dark and the sun was setting in the west. At that moment, the sky was dark and an invisible sense of oppression appeared. We're finally here. This is so King tiring. I wonder if the Talisman Grandmaster's disciples have to leave like this when they leave. Yeah, if I knew this would happen, I would have left long ago. It's so nice to stay at home and eat and drink. It's so comfortable. Sigh. What was the point of saying all this? Aren't they already here? Really, I don't know what the old man is thinking. His family is obviously not bad, so why did he have to come here to be abused? Really? Sigh, hard times are coming. I really miss the carefree atmosphere of the past. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was also walking on the mountain road, heard the complaints of the people around him. The corners of his mouth twitched unconsciously, and the expression on his face became even more colorful. Sigh, these people nowadays really don't know how to cherish things. Don't they know that only by suffering the most hardships can one rise to the top? Really? Looking at the grumbling, depressed, and unforgettable people around him, he couldn't help but sigh. Of course, those who were able to come here were mostly people with perseverance and firm Dao hearts. Of course, perhaps some of them were forced to come by their families, but to be able to come here was already a blessing from the heavens. There would be those who were promoted, and there would be those who were not. Just like this path, Lin Rei could feel the pressure from it. Although it wasn't very strong, it was more or less a threat to these people. Lin Rei could feel that the person who was exerting the pressure was a godly master realm cultivator. Although there were people who gave up halfway, there were still 40 to 50,000 people in front of the mountain gate of the Talisman Sect. This was a very impressive number. Even if the entire Xuanzong sect was added up, there wouldn't be so many people. Looking at the black mass of people around him, Lin Rei smiled bitterly and thought to himself, I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect that one day, I would have to compete with these people for the position of the new disciples of the Talisman Sect. If this were to spread to the ears of those great sects, I'm afraid they wouldn't believe it. What's wrong? Su Ziqing, who had been paying attention to Lin Rei, saw the bitter smile on Lin Rei's face and asked curiously. Nothing. Lin Rei was speechless when he saw Su Ziqing's puzzled look. Lin Rei felt that getting to know Su Ziqing was the worst thing that had happened in his life. Sigh, damn. Lin Rei, you really made me look for you. Suddenly, a hand reached out from behind and grabbed Lin Rei's neck. Coupled with his loud voice, Lin Rei was startled when he wasn't paying attention. Lin Rei was very familiar with this voice. It was a nightmare that haunted him during this period of time. Who else could it be other than Lu Yuanqi? Turning around, Lin Li looked at the youth who had his hand around his neck. He felt a wave of helplessness. In this short period of time, he had actually encountered two weirdos. At this moment, Lin Li began to wonder if he had offended someone, for these two fellows to be so aggressive towards him. Can you pull your arm away from my neck first? You're strangling me, Lin Rei said. Of course, this was just an act. With Lu Yuanqi's cultivation, he shouldn't be able to strangle Lin Rei to death. Although Lin Rei was pretending, Lu Yuanqi was serious. The moment he saw Lin Rei's face turn red, he felt guilty and immediately let go of Lin Rei. He stood aside and smiled awkwardly. I didn't do it on purpose. I was just excited to see you. So I couldn't control my strength. Lu Yuanqi's guilty expression disappeared in the next moment. He waved his hand indifferently and said, Besides, you won't blame me, right? Because of our relationship. At first, Lin Li felt a little guilty when he saw Lu Yuanqi's guilt. But at this moment, Lin Li knew that Lu Yuanqi's shamelessness had reached an unimaginable level. It was beyond his imagination. Regarding this, Linley felt extremely helpless. Since when had anyone dared to treat him like this? Puffed. Suddenly, a burst of laughter came from the side. Linley's face instantly fell. Turning his head, he saw Su Ziqing looking at Linley with her hands on her stomach. She couldn't hide the smile on her face. Bastard! Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei's anger was ignited. He raised his hand and was about to teach Lu Yuanqi a lesson. However, just as Linley was about to raise his hand, a voice rang out. Upon hearing this voice, Linley's arm froze in midair, and he didn't continue. Cultivation. Everyone, please be quiet. I am the Sect's deacon, Lu He. I am here to receive all of you. When the voice was heard, everyone, including those who were fooling around, talking and cultivating, opened their eyes and looked in the direction of the voice. At this moment, a middle-aged man in green robes stood in the air and looked down at the crowd. There was no disdain in his eyes. Instead, they were filled with gentleness and peace. Everyone, I'm really sorry about today. The sky is dark now, and the sect doesn't have any extra rooms for so many people to stay in. Therefore, the sect leader has decided that everyone will stay here for the time being. After resting and recuperating, tomorrow is the time to participate in the disciple recruitment. What do you think about your cultivation? He did not force Linley, nor did he act overbearing. He did not act as though he was a disciple of the Talisman Grandmaster, and he was amazing. Linley had a good impression of him. There were not many people like him in the cultivation world. Of course, Linley's thoughts were the same as everyone else's. Thus, someone quickly came to a decision regarding this matter. I agree with the sect leader's decision. All of us agree with the sect leader's decision. All of us agree with the sect leader's decision. Let's recuperate today. If there was a first, there would be a second. At this moment, there was a perverted person who agreed with the suggestion one after another. Lu He, who was standing in the air, was very grateful. When Lu He first received the task, he thought that it would be very difficult to complete it. After all, there were more than 10,000 people. However, it seemed like it was going smoothly. All right. In that case, thank you for giving me face. Lu He cupped his fists and thanked the crowd. Deacon Lu, you are too courteous. The crowd returned the greeting politely. In order to blend in, Lin Rei lowered his head and bowed. However, among the 10,000 people, there was only one person who did not bow. Instead, he looked at Lu He with a smile. This person was none other than Lu Yuanqi, who was standing beside Lin Rei. What are you doing? Hurry up and bow. At this moment, Lin Rei noticed Lu Yuanqi's expression and teased him. Of course, although Lin Rei said that, he was very happy in his heart. He even prayed, hurry up and catch him. Hurry up and take him away. If you take him away, my ears will be completely relaxed. However, Lu Yuanqi did not seem to hear Lin Rei's words. Instead, he continued to look at Lu He with a smile on his face as though they had been good friends for many years. However, Lu He, who was in the air, naturally noticed Lu Yuanqi, who did not bow. When he looked at Lu He, the smile on his face grew wider. In a flash, he disappeared in the air. In the next moment, he was beside Lu Yuanqi. When Lu He saw Lu Yuanqi's expression, he was full of smiles and sighed. He reached out his hand and stroked Lu Yuanqi's hair. He said dotingly, Xueqi, why are you here? Didn't grandfather forbid you from coming and asked you to stay at home and learn the family's cultivation method? If the old master knows about this, he will lock you up and make you reflect on your mistakes. What? What's going on? At this moment, after hearing Lu He's words and Lu He's actions, Lin Rei felt that this matter was not what he thought it was. As expected, in the next moment, Lu Yuanqi said, Oh, uncle, please forgive me. You know that I have always wanted to come out and play, but the old master forced me to stay at home and said that Talisman Taoism was a small Tao. I was not convinced, so I came here to try and prove that the old master was wrong. Lu Yuanqi said with an unyielding expression. This scene made Lin Rei stunned. It was as if Lu Yuanqi was the real Lu Yuanqi at this moment. Uncle, don't secretly tell the old master this news, okay? If I find out about it, I'll mess things up. You should know how destructive I can be. Don't mess things up when the time comes. Don't. At that moment, Lu He's neck shrunk back as he replied with a terrified expression. Good nephew, I won't tell the old man, okay? Don't do anything rash. This isn't the Lu family. If you cause trouble here, no one will be able to protect you. Even if you beg me, I won't be able to do anything. You have to understand that. Okay, maybe I am thinking too much. Seeing this scene, Lin Rei immediately decided to re-examine Lu Yuanqi. At this moment, Lin Rei could not help but think of this sentence. A leopard can't change its spots. A dog can't change its habit of eating shit. And a pig can't change its humph. Good that you know. Seeing that his uncle was going along with him. No, cooperating with him, Lu Yuanqi glanced at Lin Rei and said, Uncle, this is the new friend I made today, Lin Rei. Lin Rei, this is my... Okay, uncle. Before Lu Yuanqi could finish, Lin Rei said, I am Lin Rei. Greetings. Deacon Lu. Lin Rei. Looking at Lin Rei, Lu He's pupils shrank. He sized up Lin Rei and then smiled, hello friend. Have fun with my little Chi in the future. Damn, you want to trick me when you just met me? As the former sect leader, Lin Rei knew what Lu Ha was thinking. Of course, Lin Rei could not sit still and wait for his death. Yes, I know that, but... Lin Rei chuckled. He suddenly realized that his voice was full of conspiracy. Look, you just met Lu Yuanqi. You should bring him back and have a good chat with him. Furthermore, as he spoke, he was afraid that Lu Ha would not agree. He immediately opened his mouth and pressed on. Look, there are so many people here. There are so many eyes. You also know your nephew's ability. You have to keep an eye on him. If anything happens to him, won't your grandfather kill you? When Lin Rei mentioned Lu Yuanqi's ability, he inadvertently emphasized it. Hearing this, Lu Ha was about to say something else, but then he realized that Lin Li's words were absolutely correct. There were so many people here, including people from the various major clans and sections. He also believed in his nephew's destructive power and ability to cause trouble. Regarding this, Lu Ha hesitated, wavered. Go. Go back with your uncle first. You will participate in the preliminaries tomorrow. See you when you enter the Talisman Grandmaster. He did not wait for Lu Yuanqi or Lu He's agreement. He pulled Su Ziqing into the crowd and disappeared into the sea of people. The uncle and nephew of the Lu family were left behind. They stood there in a daze, staring in the direction Lin Li had left. Their hearts were in a daze. Damn this, half a minute later, Lu Ha seemed to have figured something out. He turned to look at his nephew, Lu Yuanqi, and was speechless. Sigh, looks like I have to bring this little devil with me again. Lu Ha thought to himself. Chapter 851. Thinking of this, Lu Ha sighed and turned his head. He saw Lu Yuanqi looking at him with expectant eyes. Let's go. We'll make do with my place today. We'll prepare for the competition tomorrow morning. This time you have to be careful. Most of the people here are disciples of sects and clans. It's best to be careful. If anything happens to you here, I'm afraid. Old Master will tear me apart. Don't worry. Looking at the worried Lu Ha, Lu Yuanqi smiled and patted his chest. Who am I? I'm your nephew, the genius young master of the Lu clan. Don't worry, I'll definitely get you first place tomorrow. When he saw his nephew exaggerating like this, Lu Ha was speechless for a moment. After that, he didn't say anything and turned around to leave. Follow him. There are formations set up by runes everywhere. Plus, it's dark. If I make a mistake, the consequences will be unimaginable. Lu Ha took the first step. Suddenly, he stopped and shouted at Lu Yuanqi, who was behind him. Then, he continued forward. Got it. Looking at his uncle leaving, Lu Yuanqi rolled his eyes and glanced at the direction Lin Li left. Then, he retracted his gaze and chased after his uncle with his cultivation. However, at this moment, Lin Rei, who had left early, was not far away from Lu Yuanqi. Seeing that Lu Yuanqi had left, he suddenly felt relieved and smiled. Humph, you little bastard, you finally left. If you didn't leave, my ears would be hurt. Lin Rei was very excited about Lu Yuanqi's departure. How could he not be happy that the little fly that had been following him had finally left? However, although one person had left, there was still a follower. Lin Rei really didn't know what to do with him. Lin Rei didn't know what to do with him. Hee, it seems that you're very happy that Lu Yuanqi left. At this moment, Su Ziqing saw how relaxed Lin Rei was and asked curiously, if that's the case, would you be happier if I told you that I left as well? Lin Rei hadn't recovered from the excitement of Lu Yuanqi's departure. Therefore, after hearing Su Ziqing's words, he spoke decisively without hesitation. Of course, it's better if all of you leave. That way you'll be free and your ears will be clean. As he spoke, Lin Rei sensed that something was wrong. In the end, his voice grew weaker and weaker until it completely disappeared. However, when the voice finally disappeared, Lin Rei spat out his thoughts. You bastard. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Su Ziqing's expression darkened. He pointed at Lin Rei and cursed. Then, he stomped his foot and left angrily. This stomp. What the hell is that? Su Ziqing's action stunned Lin Rei. A man stomping his foot like a girl when he was anxious. This character, this style, Lin Rei might be a little bit. Of course, he came to himself in a flash. After all, this matter didn't affect him at all. Anyway, he wouldn't have much interaction with Su Ziqing in the future. Thinking of this, he watched Su Ziqing's figure disappear completely. He smiled and shook his head. Then, he turned and walked in the opposite direction of Su Ziqing. This was exactly what Lin Rei wanted to happen and the result he wanted. Now that the two weirdos had disappeared, Lin Rei's world suddenly became clear. Phew! It's finally completely peaceful. As he spoke, he used his consciousness to check the appearance of the people around him as he walked. Lin Rei didn't care much about the people around him. Most of them were divine masters or divine emperors. Of course, there were divine emperors as well. As for divine emperors, there were only a few of them. After all, if a clan or an emperor clan had divine emperors, it meant that the clan or emperor clan was very powerful. Since that was the case, why would they participate in the recruitment of the Talisman Grandmaster? Of course, there would also be a small group of people who would go back to eat. Some of them were rogue cultivators. After all, the Talisman Grandmaster was one of the 7 sects and had a strong foundation. If they could cultivate in such a paradise, their cultivation speed would increase greatly. Looking at the cultivation levels of the people around him, Linley could only shake his head the entire time. Sigh. Looks like there's no face here. Most of the cultivation is like this. There's no surprise at all. Lin Rei's eyes were filled with disdain. And then, just as Linley was thinking this, the divine sense he sent out confirmed that it had landed on a certain person. It was a young man in a white long robe. His body was straight like a sharp sword and he gave off a sharp feeling. Not bad. Born with sword bones and the blood flowing in his body is extraordinary. Moreover, his cultivation is at the Divine Emperor realm. This person. TSKSK, not bad. However, just as Lin Rei's gaze fell on the young man in white, the young man seemed to have sensed something. He turned his head and fixed his gaze on Lin Rei. At that moment their eyes met. At that moment, when the young man in white saw Lin Rei, his body trembled and his heart skipped a beat. What's going on? Why does this person give me such a feeling? Even my teacher can't do that. As he thought about it, he used his consciousness to check on Lin Rei. What? True God realm? How is that possible? At this moment, after a few breaths of time had passed, the white-robed youth was completely stupefied. He stared blankly at Linley, a look of confusion on his face. A true God realm cultivator could make him, a divine emperor realm expert, tremble with just a glance. It was impossible anywhere else. However, it really happened here and it happened to him. It was a great blow to him. Oh, interesting. Seeing the look in the white-robed youth's eyes, Linley was startled. Revealing an amused smile, he strode towards the white-robed youth. At the same time, when the young man in white saw Lin Rei's action, he couldn't help but move towards Lin Rei. The young man looked helpless. What's your name? Where did you learn from? From what I can see, your bones are clear and distinct, and you have the appearance of a cultivator. Thus. At this moment, Linley suddenly spoke out. Although it was a bit abrupt, the youth still responded. Looking at the young man, Linley couldn't help but laugh and tease him, an amused smile on his face. Hearing those words, the young man was stunned. His expression darkened, and he was about to make a move. However, at the instant he made his move, the gaze from before suddenly appeared. In an instant, the young man who was originally full of vigor was like a deflated balloon. His earlier vigor was gone. At this moment, the young man was angry, but he didn't dare to say anything. Although he could sense Lin Rei's cultivation, he felt that Lin Rei was not simple. He stopped and forced a smile on his face. He asked, "I'm Jian Feng, Jian Yulin Dragon God's disciple. May I know who you are, Jian Feng?" Hearing the young man's words, Lin Rei was puzzled. It was a good name, but the name Jian Yulin Dragon God did not have any influence on this person at all. He must be a great person. However, he must be an extraordinary person. After all, his disciple had a proud and unyielding character, and his sword bones were sharp. If he wasn't a capable person, he wouldn't have been able to teach Jian Feng such powerful sword skills, let alone nurture him to such an extraordinary level. I'm Lin Rei. As for my master, I should be referring to myself. I'm just a rogue cultivator. Before brother Jian Feng died, I'm not even worth mentioning. Jian Feng regained his senses and looked at Jian Feng. Lin Rei. Hearing Linley's self-introduction, Jian Feng frowned for a moment before regaining his composure. What are you talking about, fellow Taoist? I'm not any better. Master is always alone. Even now, I haven't seen him in 100 years. Lin Rei shrugged and glanced at Jian Feng. Finally, his eyes fell on the long sword in Jian Feng's hand. TSK. Not bad. This sword looks extraordinary. The sword qi on it is so strong that it makes one's hair stand on end. It's a good sword. Hearing these words, Jian Feng instantly tightened his grip on his long sword. His eyes were filled with caution as he stared at Linley, his expression extremely guarded. As a sword cultivator, the sword in his hand was equivalent to his life. No one could touch it. Whoever touched it would die. However, looking at Lin Rei, Jian Feng had an illusion that he was not a match for him. Moreover, it was to the extent of being beaten up. Jian Feng's illusion was very accurate. Indeed, Lin Rei could suppress Jian Feng with just a lift of his hand. Not only in terms of cultivation realm, but also in terms of sword Dao. Rumble, suddenly, just as Lin Rei's eyes fell on the long sword in Jian Feng's hand and his eyes were filled with admiration, a loud explosion pulled Lin Rei back to reality. A ray of golden light shot up to the sky from the depths of the talisman Sect. Waves of powerful energy fluctuations spread out in all directions with the golden light as the center. At the same time, the spiritual energy within 100,000 feet radius seemed to have a consciousness of its own. All of them rushed towards the direction where the golden light had appeared. This scene attracted everyone's attention. Generally speaking, there were a few explanations for this energy. First, of course, it's the birth of a heavenly treasure. Second, it's the appearance of an ancient relic or an ancient tomb. This can also cause a strange sound. Third, this third one is very normal. When someone breaks through to the sage state or a powerful realm, a series of strange sounds will appear. Of course, the crowd was still unaware of the above three situations. No one knew what had appeared that could cause such a powerful strange sound. Heavenly treasure. It must be a heavenly treasure. Yes, it must be. Ha, looks like we didn't come here in vain. I didn't expect to encounter such a thing. Yes, as the saying goes, the heavenly treasure will belong to the fated one. This is the will of the heavens. At this moment, the crowd was discussing. Lin Rei smiled. At this moment, if Xuefeng was here and saw Lin Rei's smile, she would know that Lin Rei was coveting something. Sigh. It looks like we can't suppress that thing anymore. Yes. After all, it's not a divine weapon. Moreover, it's a natural spiritual treasure of a higher realm. It has been cultivating since the ancient times and it has already cultivated a consciousness. If we want to suppress it, the ancestor who founded the sect has to be reborn. Otherwise, sigh. Natural spiritual treasure. If this thing is controlled by the sect, won't it be just around the corner for me to break through to the honorable level rune master? I might even be able to prove my way with runes. Who knows? As they spoke, the crowd could not help but feel that it was a pity. An old man spoke when he saw everyone's regretful expressions. All right, let's stop talking. Let's do our best to suppress it. At the same time, send someone to inform the tens of thousands of new disciples in front of the sect. Tell them that the golden light that is being emitted is the result of a natural treasure dyeing their hair. Now, the sect has decided to set this as the first test. Whoever is able to walk within 100 meters of the golden light will pass. If he is able to walk within 50 meters of the golden light, he will not need to participate in the later part of the competition. If someone is able to walk within 10 meters of the golden light, then his treatment will be doubled. Not only will he not have to participate in the competition, his status will be raised again, and he will immediately become a core disciple of the sect. Change the second test as well. Since the first test is related to that thing, then the second test should be related to that thing as well. The top 20 can enter and subdue it. The heavenly treasure will belong to the fated one. So, this matter is decided. Go and notify them. The old man instructed. Yes, I will take care of it now. At this moment, a middle-aged man nodded and acknowledged the old man's words. Since that's the case, let's leave and try our best to suppress that thing so that we can last a little longer in this competition. This can be considered as benefiting the sect and making a contribution to the sect. As he spoke, he ignored the middle-aged man. A few other white-haired old men looked at each other and nodded with a smile. Then, their figures flashed and instantly disappeared from the spot. Sigh, this kind of thing always happens when the sect is recruiting disciples. It looks like the recruitment this time won't be as smooth as before. Sigh, he thought to himself. Then, he shook his head and stopped thinking about it. Then he turned around and rushed out. How about it? Do you want to give it a try? I can feel that the thing that is emitting the golden light is of a very high level. Furthermore, I can feel that this thing might be able to train one's mental strength. If you can obtain it, then, you won't be far from breaking through to the martial sage level. In front of the mountain gate, Lin Rei, who was standing among the crowd, looked at the golden light with a fiery expression. However, just as Lin Rei was feeling excited, a voice sounded. Hearing this voice, Lin Rei's body couldn't help but tremble. His face was filled with joy. Little dragon, it's you. You're awake? That's right, the system's weapon spirit, Little Dragon. With the help of the system and Lin Rei, the little dragon had finally woken up. I'm awake. Seeing Lin Rei's excited expression, the little dragon's heart warmed. However, he quickly regained his serious expression. This was not the time for them to be reunited. Think of a way to obtain this thing. It's very important to you. Chapter 852. Yes, I know. Lin Rei, who was still excited, had a serious look on his face. When the golden light appeared, his mental strength was instantly threatened. It was like a venomous snake waiting for an opportunity to strike. It stared at him with greed and desire. The thing in the golden light is not simple. It can make my mental strength feel threatened. You can imagine how powerful it is. Moreover, as he spoke, he smiled and continued. Moreover, even if you didn't tell me, do you think I wouldn't go and check it out? You should know that fortune comes from danger. Hee hee, you brat. After not seeing you for so long, I didn't expect you to still have this bad habit. However, I like it. Ha ha ha. At this moment, the two of them looked at each other and laughed. Their laughter was so loud that the surrounding crowd looked at Lin Rei in confusion. Who is this person? Why is he so presumptuous in public? Yes. Who is this person? Could he be a fool? Yes, I agree. This person might be an idiot. Moreover, his cultivation base is so low. He is only at the true god realm. Yet, he dared to participate in the Talisman Grandmaster's recruitment with such a low cultivation base. Moreover, he even passed the ancient mountain path. Of course, there was also sympathy when there was contempt. Some people despised Lin Rei, but there was also a group of people who pitied Lin Rei. Sigh. What a pity. His brain is damaged at such a young age. Otherwise, with his looks, he might be able to achieve great things. Yes. However, I don't believe that he is only at the true god realm since he was able to pass the ancient mountain path. Yes, I agree. Let's see. Perhaps this person will be able to show off his skills this time? Let's see. Everything is unknown. Lin Rei felt that the surrounding people's comments, disdain, contempt, doubt, pity, and sympathy were all jokes. Moreover, Lin Rei could not hear the discussions of the surrounding people. At this moment, Lin Rei was still immersed in the fact that the little dragon had woken up. He was unable to extricate himself. Are you all right? A weak voice entered Lin Rei's ears. Suddenly, Lin Rei paused. His smile disappeared, and he looked down. At this moment, Jian Feng was looking at him with confusion. His expression was extremely interesting. You haven't? Lin Rei had assumed that Jian Feng would choose to leave, but who would have thought? No. How could I leave without greeting you, fellow Taoist? Also, as he spoke, his gaze turned to the golden light in the distance. His expression became serious as he said, that thing should have appeared. So, I would like to ask fellow Taoist to be my partner. If you can obtain that thing, that would be the best. What? That thing? What is it? Although he knew where Jian Feng was pointing, he did not understand what the thing he was talking about was. Moreover, the most important thing was that he wanted that thing. After all, it was something that the little dragon wanted. As for forming a team, Lin Rei had not thought about it. After all, with his strength, Lin Rei was confident that he did not need Jian Feng. Hearing Lin Rei's question, Jian Feng was stunned. Then he froze on the spot. His expression was full of hesitation and solemnity. It seemed that he was making a difficult decision. Well, you don't have to say it. In any case, I probably won't be able to come into contact with that thing. After all, with my level of cultivation, I probably won't be able to obtain it. Since he was putting on an act, he had to go all the way. After he finished speaking, his face was filled with disappointment. Lin Li's performance was more realistic than real gold. No, I will tell you. But you have to promise me that you will not let a third person know. Otherwise, you will be hunted down. At this moment, as if he had made a decision, the hesitation in his eyes turned into determination. All right, tell me. With a smile, he waved his hand and 2 chairs appeared in front of him. In response, Lin Rei gestured for Jian Feng to take a seat. Then, he sat down and looked at Jian Feng seriously. Sigh. Jian Feng sighed as he looked at Lin Rei. Then he sat down. After hesitating for a while, he spoke. Jian Feng spoke. Actually, I am not from the Talisman Grandmaster. I believe you can tell that I am a sword cultivator. Therefore, it is impossible for me to change my mind. However, a few years ago something happened. As he spoke, Jian Feng looked ahead and was stunned for a long time. It was as if he had entered a deep memory. I remember it very clearly. A few years ago, my master suddenly came to me and told me that a very powerful innate spiritual treasure would appear in the Talisman Grandmaster. This item is known to all cultivators. It is an item left behind from the primordial era. I heard that this item can train a cultivator's mental strength. The user could quickly become a talisman master, an alchemist, a weapon refiner, and a formation master. Moreover, the final requirement was for this item to be in the shape of a pen. This was the most difficult thing for a talisman master. Of course, there were pros and cons. Although this thing was very good for cultivators in all aspects, the only downside was its power. Its power was beyond one's imagination. Even divine venerables couldn't subdue it and could only suppress it. This was something that only several divine venerables working together could do. Upon hearing Jian Feng's words, Lin Rei's face was filled with anticipation. Most of what Jian Feng said was what the little dragon had told him. However, Lin Rei had never heard of an innate spiritual treasure. Moreover, it was in the shape of a pen. Of course, Lin Li wasn't interested in these things. Especially when he heard about connate spiritual treasures, Lin Li raised his eyebrows and his eyes flashed. He seemed to be itching for action. Yes, that's right. However, even though divine venerables can't make it recognize me as its master, for some reason, my master gave me a method to subdue it. So, this time, I'll need that fellow cultivator to help me. If I really get the item, I'll be able to get all kinds of treasures and cultivation methods. Even my master will take you in as his disciple." Jian Feng's face was filled with admiration as he spoke. Stars could be seen in his eyes. "Your master." Looking at Jian Feng's expression, Lin Rui was stunned. He began to search for this person in his mind. No matter what, Lin Rui could not figure out why a divine emperor disciple would come to subdue an innate spiritual treasure. However, although he was puzzled, he kept a smile on his face and no one noticed anything wrong. "Yes, my master. Don't worry. My master also said that this innate spiritual treasure is called the Immortal Banishing Brush. It was left behind by the Kuanping people in the Untainted Land as if to suppress something. However, as time went by, my master could not remember some things. However, he remembered the secret method to subdue the Immortal Banishing Brush. At the same time, he also knew that the brush would appear during this period of time. So you came. You came to subdue the banished immortal brush, but you were afraid that while you were subduing it, you would be ambushed by other geniuses of the same generation. Thus, you wanted to rope in allies, and offered extremely generous conditions. Conditions so generous that no one could refuse them, right?" Before Jian Feng could finish, Lin Li spoke out. "Yes, you are right." Jian Feng did not deny it. Lin Rui was right. Jian Feng also found it hard to believe. He did not expect Lin Rui to be so thorough in such a short period of time. Lin Rui was so thorough. Alas! After a sigh, Lin Rui shook his head slightly and said, "Your plan is really good. However, I'm sorry, I don't intend to accept your invitation." "Not for anything else, then?" He looked at the golden light and was amazed. He could not help but take a step forward. Are you also?" Seeing Lin Rui's action, Jian Feng was stunned. Then he guessed. "Oh yes, you're right." He didn't deny it, for no other reason than because, in his eyes, Jian Feng had never been of any importance to him. At this moment, Jian Feng did not say anything. On the contrary, his original anticipation instantly disappeared and was replaced with vigilance. He looked at Lin Rui cautiously and stepped back step by step. "Let me give you a piece of advice. I want that thing. So, back off. That way, you still have a chance to live. Otherwise, cultivation is heartless and so is the Great Way." After saying that, Jian Feng did not have the chance to speak. He turned around and walked towards a place where no one knew him. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air rang in everyone's hearts. At this moment, Lin Rui, who was walking, stopped. He turned around and looked at the place where the heart of the Sky Destroyer appeared. He saw a middle-aged man who was not dressed extravagantly but gave off an unfathomable feeling. Haha, an early ultimate god. He is either an elder or a sovereign. It seems like the Talisman Sect is quite powerful. After saying that, Lin Rui was slightly happy. He did not leave but waited at the same place. He waited for the early ultimate god middle-aged man to appear. Similarly, after Lin Rui discovered the middle-aged man, other people also discovered him one after another. In the end, when the middle-aged man completely appeared in front of everyone, the crowd finally came back to their senses. He stood in the air like Lu He. However, there was one thing that was different from Lu He's eyes. Lu He's eyes were filled with peace and tranquility. However, the middle-aged man's eyes were filled with disdain, contempt and disdain. Seeing the middle-aged man's reaction, Lin Rui was stunned. His face turned gloomy and his heart was filled with displeasure. F***CK, if it wasn't for the fact that I have something important to deal with, I would have killed you with a slap. Do you think you have the right to look down on me? Of course, that was only his imagination. His rationality was not swallowed by his displeasure. Therefore, no matter how displeased he was, his expression remained the same. At the same time, the surrounding people also had the same feelings as Lin Rui. They were filled with displeasure toward the middle-aged man. However, the ladies thought about it and did not show it. After all, they were at a higher rank and it was not good for them to make things awkward. This Xuanfeng is the Talisman Sect's sovereign. It is our Talisman Sect's honor to have his cultivation returned to our sect. Therefore, she is the only one who said the polite words. Next, I will introduce the rules and events of the competition to everyone. After saying that, Xuanfeng's voice became louder. It even contained a trace of his early ultimate god source energy. He was curious as if he was afraid the crowd would not be able to hear him. I believe everyone has already seen that a heavenly treasure has appeared in our sect. Therefore, it is considered an imparting of scriptures. The original entrance examination has been cancelled and replaced with another one. After saying that, Xuanfeng pointed at the golden pillar behind the heavenly treasure and said, "That is the main point of the sect's entrance examination. The first stage is also the golden pillar." After saying that, Xuanfeng repeated the words the old man had said to him without missing a single word. The first stage is the great chaotic battle. Whoever is able to walk within 100 meters of the golden pillar will pass. If he is able to walk within 50 meters of the golden pillar, he will not need to participate in the later stages of the competition. He will directly advance and become a member of the Talisman Sect. Of course, if someone is able to walk within 10 meters of the golden pillar, his treatment will be doubled. Not only will he not need to participate in the competition, his status will also rise again, and he will immediately become a core disciple of the sect. What? Such a good thing? At that moment, after hearing that the rewards for the first stage were all like that, everyone present had an expression of disbelief. After all, in their opinion, the same sect competition would be very easy. However, they had underestimated the strength of the golden pillar and overestimated their own strength. Of course, seeing everyone's excited and emotional appearance, Xuanfeng's expression couldn't help but become cold. He continued, "Of course, there will be casualties in the great chaotic battle. On the way to the golden pillar, I have specially set up an ancient battlefield. It can hold so many people inside. Of course, life and death are determined by fate. This time, whoever is able to come out will be the strongest." Hiss! At that moment, everyone couldn't help but sigh. They didn't expect the first stage of the examination to be so exposed. When they thought of their children, they felt a headache in their hearts. There were even some people who started to feel sorry for their children as they wondered if they would be bullied. In the second stage of the taming battle, the top 20 can enter and subdue them. The heavenly treasure will be obtained by those who are fated. There is no need to force it. The third stage is even simpler. After obtaining the heavenly treasure, you will be on the stage and be attacked by the top 20 cultivators one after another. You can fight back as long as you have the ability to. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. How was this a test? This was clearly a battle between a human and a demonic beast. How can it be like this? You can't. I don't want to cultivate anymore. Let's go. Son, let's go home. Yeah, let's go home. After all, this isn't a place where we can stay. Let's just leave. Otherwise, we'll lose our lives. Yeah. Son, let's leave quickly. If there was a first, there would be a second. At that moment, everyone was hesitant. Facing such a cruel rule, everyone was shocked. In the past, everyone understood that the Talisman Sect was different this time. Moreover, the person on the sect master's position had also changed. Everyone didn't understand why. At that moment, what they cared about the most was their son's safety. Chapter 853. Xuanfeng naturally heard the endless discussions below, but he did not stop them. Instead, a look of disdain appeared on his face. This was because in his eyes, these people merely wanted to rely on his talisman sect to become the power behind their sects and clans. Xuanfeng naturally did not respect this. Instead, he became even more unscrupulous because of this. Initially, he knew how to restrain himself, but later on, he could no longer control himself and simply did not care anymore. Heh, little thing. Wait until I become the master of the Talisman Sect. See how I'll play with you. Now, I'll let you enjoy your last days here. It would be a lie to say that the crowd was not angry when they saw Xuanfeng's actions and his expression. Of course, they could not go out now. Lin Rei was also very helpless about this. The mission issued by the system did not allow him to use other forces. He had to become the master of the Talisman Sect by himself, and could not rely too much on his martial strength. This made Lin Rei feel very helpless. There was no other way. Time passed by slowly. The discussions gradually came to an end and the place gradually quietened down. Lin Rei was happy to hear this. He finally did not have to listen to some people's chatter. After a while, the place finally became completely quiet. At the moment when the place became quiet, a ray of morning light appeared and illuminated the boundless divine region of the god world. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The sky was bright and the sound of birds lingered in their ears. Coupled with the dense fragrance of flowers on the mountain, when they sensed this at this moment, their spirits were lifted and a relaxed smile appeared on their faces. Lin Rei's originally relaxed heart became even more relaxed at this moment. Some of the hidden troubles in his heart were completely thrown to the back of his mind at this moment. However, when Lin Rei felt that his body was completely in the air and his heart was at peace, a strange feeling spread throughout his body like an electric current. Lin Rei was stunned by this. What's going on? Why do I feel that my state of mind and cultivation have improved a lot at this moment? Moreover, I can even feel the barrier to the late stage of the Supreme God realm. Although it's just a little. His expression was filled with disbelief, and this feeling came all of a sudden, without any warning at all. Alas! A sudden sigh entered Lin Rei's ears. Lin Rei froze on the spot with a blank expression on his face. His mind jolted as he entered the system. At this moment, the little dragon was standing in the distance in a space within the system, looking at Lin Rei with a guilty expression. You don't have to make a fuss. It's normal for you to break through your realm and cultivation. Hearing this, Lin Rei looked over with a puzzled expression. He didn't quite understand the little dragon's words. Seeing Lin Rei's confusion, the little dragon explained, You've killed far too many people ever since you started cultivating. When you kill people, you'll generate killing intent. After such a long time, the killing intent in your body has condensed to an extremely terrifying level. However, it's also because you haven't properly restrained and refined this killing intent that it's been extremely difficult for you to break through to your current level of cultivation. As a result, your current breakthrough is much slower than others. What? Then what do I do? Hearing the little dragon's explanation, Lin Rei's expression darkened. He didn't expect this to be the reason. At this moment, Lin Rei seemed to understand a little why he needed to break through to the next level of cultivation. Now it seemed that it was because he had unintentionally cast aside all burdens temporarily. There's a way. The little dragon answered all of Lin Rei's questions. Just like you did just now, enter a state that ordinary people can't be any more ordinary. Let yourself completely empty and throw away all burdens first. I believe that in this state, it won't take long for the killing intent to be refined and restrained. When that time comes, the breakthrough will naturally come naturally. Really? Hearing this, Linley was puzzled. He asked. Yes, really. In disbelief, the little dragon nodded solemnly. All right. He didn't refute. He believed the little dragon's words. After all, the little dragon had saved him many times. The two of them were like teacher, friend, and family. I understand. When this matter is over, I'll deal with the killing intent in my body. When that time comes, I should be able to live a peaceful life. In an instant, the originally bitter face revealed a trace of a smile. Hee, that's right. Why do you have to work so hard every day? Right. Looking at the little dragon, Lin Rei rolled his eyes. As the saying goes, if you don't manage the household, you won't know the cost of daily necessities. At this moment, Lin Rei felt that this sentence was very accurate. All right, hurry up and leave. The first competition outside seems to be starting soon. When that time comes, do your best to obtain that banished immortal brush. Yes, understood. Saying that, he waved his hand at the little dragon and left the space. However, the moment he left, Xuanfeng's voice filled with disdain and coldness entered his ears. All right, since the sky is already bright, let's begin. What? We're starting right now? Yeah, how are we supposed to start? At this moment, everyone was stunned when they heard Xuanfeng, and then they swept the surroundings with their gazes before their faces instantly darkened, and they started to refute. Starting from here, do you see where the golden light is? All of you decide the path yourselves. So long as you arrive before the golden light, then all of you can become disciples of the sect according to the rules of the Grand Tao. As he spoke, a strange smile appeared on Xuanfeng's face. Of course, it's a chaotic battle, so it's naturally not so easy to pass through. On your path, there will be your future senior brothers and senior sisters that will spar with all of you. The victor of the spar can pass through, and as for the loser, I don't have that, and I'll do my best. Oh, I forgot to tell all of you that all of you can obstruct each other earlier. In this chaotic battle, life and death don't matter. Bang! Everyone present was stunned by his explanation. These rules were too cruel, and life and death didn't matter. Moreover, there were even disciples of the Talisman sect setting up ambushes along the way. This caused some of them to feel a wave of displeasure and worry in their hearts. Of course, if you're afraid now, then all of you can withdraw. If you're not afraid, then let's begin. The time limit is 1 day, and the end will be at sunset. Those who don't arrive before sunset will automatically forfeit. As he spoke, Xuanfeng looked at the furious expressions and faces of the people below and sneered. Now, let's begin. I believe that some of you will be able to become disciples of my Talisman sect. Swoosh! After he finished speaking, he didn't wait for anyone to refute or reply before he turned around and transformed into a ray of light that instantly disappeared on the spot, and charged towards the depths of the Talisman sect. Fuck! He's leaving just like that? Everyone was stunned as they watched Xuanfeng's figure disappear into the distance, and then they started to complain to Xuanfeng without hiding anything. Alas, alright, stop complaining. Since it's already like this, what else can we do? Don't participate? Then what's the point of coming here? Yeah, I don't believe that the disciples of the Talisman sect are that amazing. At any rate, I'm the son of a city's governor. I don't believe that the disciples of the Talisman sect are that amazing. Humph. Alright, since that's the case, then let's, swoosh. A black figure instantly flashed past, and everyone reacted. When they looked over, they saw a white-clothed young man holding a 3-foot-long cold sword in his hand. His eyebrows were dashing like swords, and his expression was cold. His speed was as fast as lightning as he charged towards the golden light. Fuck. Who is that? Everyone was shocked when the young man left, and their originally calm hearts began to stir. However, among the crowd, perhaps only Lin Rei knew who the person who had just left was. Lin Rei frowned as he looked in the direction the young man left, and an interesting smile appeared on his face. Heh, it seems like I have to be a little more serious. I didn't expect that kid's footwork to be so powerful. Thinking of this, he smiled and shook his head. He ignored the crowd and lifted his foot. Every step he took covered 100 meters, and he instantly disappeared before everyone's eyes. Although Lin Rei had suppressed his speed to the minimum, it was still not something that the crowd could compare with. Although Lin Rei had not used his cultivation at that moment, Lin Rei's physical body alone was comparable to a peak ultimate god or even a half-saint expert. Even if Lin Rei had suppressed his physical body, the crowd still could not compare with his half-saint physical body. Lin Rei left quietly. No one knew how Lin Rei left, and no one saw Lin Rei's figure clearly. When the crowd saw the white-clothed young man leave, they could no longer wait and began to move. Although they knew that there was a bottom line in front of them, when they thought of the natural treasures in the golden light, their originally worried hearts were extinguished by their desire. Damn it, let's go. After all, we are here to enter the Talisman Grandmaster. Now that we are here, how can we retreat in the face of difficulties? Alright, ha ha ha. Since that's the case, why don't we travel together? At this point we can even help each other. Who knows, our chances of entering the Talisman Grandmaster will be much higher. Hee hee, coincidentally, this is what we are thinking. The thoughts of these few people were understood by the surrounding crowd. At that moment, the crowd began to move and form alliances. There were groups of 2 people, 10 people and even 20 people. There was no upper limit. Time passed by very quickly. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. Everyone was preparing to form an alliance. After that, they moved and rushed towards the depths of the Talisman Grandmaster. Hee hee, it seems that there will be quite a number of disciples recruited this time. Furthermore, I saw a girl just now. Her cultivation is at the late-stage God-Emperor realm. It seems this time. That's right. But why do I keep having a bad premonition in my heart? I feel that something is amiss. Who cares? Since we are already here, we should hurry up and explore. This way, when we leave or something happens, the sect will not fall into desolation due to a lack of talented disciples. That's right. At this moment, the 4 old men who were 10,000 meters above the sky watched as the groups of participants left. They felt excited in their hearts. Alright, let's hurry up. I still want to see if I can find a suitable disciple. Hee hee, you old geezer. I never expected that there would be such a beautiful scene within the Talisman Sect. Could it be a paradise? Within the Talisman Sect, there was a small mountain path. After leaving the Talisman Sect's entrance, Lin Rei walked at a moderate pace. However, after arriving at this place, the scenery attracted Lin Rei's attention. There were not many places that could attract his attention, but this place had attracted his attention. The mountains and rivers were connected, and there were flowers and grass. However, what attracted Lin Rei's attention was not these, but the small wooden house beside a stream. The scene and the existence of the small wooden house made Lin Rei's heart, which had been slightly stirred, calm down the moment he saw the scene in front of him. Is this the feeling? Lin Rei muttered to himself as he felt his cultivations slowly increasing. TSK, it seems that I have to end this matter quickly. Otherwise, I won't have much hope of breaking through to the Sage Realm within 500 years. As he thought about it, his originally calm heart stirred again. His heart tightened, and he forced himself to walk out of that state of mind. Heh! A self-mocking smile appeared on his face. Then, he turned his head and no longer looked at it. He lifted his foot and was about to leave this place that had brought him peace and tranquility. However, things were often not as they seemed to be. Oh, is this the new disciple who came to the Talisman Sect to participate this time? TSK, I didn't expect you to only be at the True God realm. What a pity. A voice suddenly sounded. Lin Rei's body paused. His face was ice cold as he turned his head to look. At this moment, a young man wearing a red long robe was walking on the path ahead. There was a talisman character carved on his chest. When Lin Rei saw this, he instantly knew that this was the senior disciple that Sun Feng had mentioned. His purpose was to create trouble for the new disciples, and even to kill them. Are you trying to stop me? He didn't look at the Talisman Sect disciple. His gaze was fixed on the wooden house at the side of the lake. Because in his eyes, the young man was far inferior to the wooden house. The young man was furious when he saw Lin Rei's actions. He never imagined that not only was there no respect in the words of a new disciple, Lin Rei didn't even look at him when he spoke. This caused the young man to feel embarrassed and furious. He never imagined that a new disciple would actually look down on him like this. However, a wave of annoyance surged into Lin Rei's heart when he saw the young man's actions. What exactly do you want? If you want to make a move, then please do so quickly. If you don't want to make a move, then quickly come over. Don't block my path. As the saying goes, a good dog doesn't block the path. Could it be that you have to speak so much nonsense every time you fight an enemy? Fuck. Who's the senior disciple and who's the new disciple? The Talisman Sect disciple was stunned when he heard Lin Rei, and his face turned pale. Why aren't you making a move? When he saw that the Talisman Sect disciple had no intention of making a move, Lin Rei was momentarily stunned. Soon after, he didn't want to wait any longer. Alright, since you're not going to make a move, then I'll end it. What? The Talisman Sect disciple was stunned when he heard these words. While he still didn't know what was going on, a black figure flashed before his eyes. He felt a pain in his chest and his entire body was involuntarily sent flying backwards. Everything happened so quickly that the Talisman Sect disciple didn't even have time to react before he discovered that he was already in the air. Puffed! A mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth. His face instantly turned deathly pale, and his face was filled with disbelief. How is this possible? A new disciple at the True God stage. Why is he so powerful? You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.